B movie, except every time they say B, it speeds up.
I've had enough of those memes, Jessica. Take them
I
elsewhere.
would love to watch that.
Dude, it's so good. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube? It's the B movie?
B movie, but every time they say B, it speeds up.
The thing is, Taylor's already done this, but he's just saying this, so he's like, oh,
No.
those guys.
I've seen the Shrek ones. I need more variety in my life.
There's a Shrek one?
Well, there's like something like that. Yeah.
Every time they say ogre, it's I haven't seen that one.
I'm an ogre.
There's one for Blade Runner every time they say replicant.
Wow.
Slows down.
It slows down. They're the slowest longs of all time.
The slowest long.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to play a game with your ear holes? Welcome to the Saw Retrospective. I am the inferior Blade, Travis Snell.
I am the survivor, Dylan Musk.
I am the work as a team, Taylor Field.
Spoiler for the...
I'm the Gilmore Girl, Jessica.
Cool. So you haven't guessed by the title, description, all that. We are reviewing every Saw film leading up to Jigsaw, which is only a few weeks away.
It's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there. Only one trailer. It's getting there. And so you can go back and listen to or watch. We've done the first 4. We're on to Saw 5. Dylan, I'm going to start...
That's Cinco.
Cinco, yeah, Saw V.
Cinco de Mayo.
It's also shown. Dylan Musk is the only one on this cast who has not seen any of these movies except for the first one, but this is your first time seeing this. What is your thoughts?
I feel like the way you said that was quite deceiving. You would make it sound as if I walked into this episode without seeing the movie, and therefore we're doing a movie I haven't seen, which I've never done before. Wink, wink.
You saw this for the first time. What were your thoughts?
I saw this for the first time yesterday.
And we're getting into spoilers. This movie's how many years old?
Did you watch
clicked
it
on it for a
twice?
reason.
Like you normally do? Just once?
You think I have time for that? Yeah, right. I was out of town all weekend. Forgot. Anyway. So, yeah, my expectations for these movies keep going down because everyone tells me they get really bad, but I actually enjoyed this movie.
Oh, no.
I actually liked 5. I think I liked it more than 4. I don't know where it would rank overall, but I actually quite...
Don't do that. We're going to do that at the end of the series, so you don't got to worry about that till we've watched them all. So.
Right. Well, I still don't know where I'd put it even, but...
Fair enough.
But I actually quite liked it. I think there's some interesting stuff in here, and like I think the pacing of it is pretty good in between like the kind of 5 people in the trap, and then it explaining the story outside. Some of it's kind of boring. Some stuff I don't care about. I actually don't like Jigsaw. I found he was kind of maybe a little bit boring through this movie, and like his wife is incredibly boring. But yeah, I think I'm a Hoffman fan for sure.
Yeah,
it's been a
he's
while.
fun.
So
He's fun.
I want to ask because I forget. Is Jeff in this movie?
Jeff is in this movie, technically, but it's just, once again, him getting shot. So. That's kind of his fate.
You see him get shot twice, actually, because they flash back to it twice. It's just the scene of him getting shot.
So he just gets shot more and more. Poor guy just lost his whole family. And he
It's
gets
actually
shot.
my favorite movie with Jeff because those scenes, just seeing him
What?
get
That's
shot.
the only scenes you see him, he gets shot. And it happens twice, yeah.
Where's my daughter?
And then, yeah, I kind of like the... like it's pretty obvious. Like the twists in this one, I don't think are quite as well done as before. But that's fine for me if like not every movie is just about this crazy twist that I didn't expect. And I think instead, the pacing of telling like multiple stories, and obviously there's like time jumps. And as I was watching the movie for the first time, I was trying to figure out, okay, where does this take place in the rest of the Saw movies?
And Saw 4 fucked with you, so now you're always
yeah, exactly. And then I was kind of, I mean, even towards the end, I was still thinking, like, was this after 1? Like, is this completely before, like, any of the Saw movies? So, it's kind of fun to watch and think about where all these scenes take place. And then, obviously, there's all these scenes in the past, and then Strawn is going to each one of them. And I thought that dynamic of, like, and, like, the transitions... they do a lot of those transitions. It's not like I didn't find it as annoying as 4, but
it's a new director now. So
yeah, you can feel that for sure. And so I think the way they flash back to those areas and then they go to Strawn's viewpoint of like his current investigation, I thought it was well done. I actually I like this movie for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it more than 4. I mean, I'm trying to remember here because I watched it a while ago because I thought this would have been a lot sooner, but.
Excuses.
Oh, wow. Throwing some shade randomly. I told you we wouldn't watch this for a little while, but
I liked it, and I mean, I thought it was very cool to see, like, kind of where Hoffman was kind of coming from a little bit in this movie, and...
A little
kind of where he was kind of a little bit coming from.
You get quite a bit.
You do get quite a bit.
You kind of get a whole story, really.
But yeah, more like origin Jigsaw kind of flashbacks, and just, you know, the whole concept of like the 5 people needing to really just kind of, I don't know, like look beyond themselves in a sense. And I like the realization too at the end of their journey, how they kind of like, oh, you know, we should have done this, but they keep going, and it was, you know,
We can't remember Rita.
yeah, Rita. It was an interesting story, and I definitely I like how, as you said, the transitions were very different from, they weren't like number 4, and you know, it was good. It was a fun ride, and I mean, I feel like when we start off on the intro here, I mean, well, actually, can I talk about the intro? Is that okay? Or are we gonna touch that after?
What intro?
Like
The dude with the trap going like this over his chest.
Well, if it's gonna be a longer one, I would just save it till our overalls are done.
Okay, I'll save it. It irks me.
Oh, okay. Wow, it irks you. Is that all you have on your?
It's because
overall?
he's done that to someone before, and he's like, that doesn't look real at all.
He did it better than me. Jessica, you want to go, or you want me to go before you go?
I can go. So, yeah, watched this quite a while ago, but kind of remember what's going on now after hearing you guys. I remember watching it, and kind of that 5-person one kind of aggravated me, because, like, I felt you could realize what was happening long before, like, when they have to get into the different chambers because there's going to be an explosion. I'm like, those are huge. Like, you guys could just crawl into one.
Right.
And, you know, there's things like that kind of give it away, I found anyway. And I also had a hard time watching this one just because the whole time, because there's so much of
Hoffman, yeah.
Hoff Daddy.
Big Daddy, or
from Gilmore
no,
Girls.
that's strong.
That's
I thought that guy creepily looked a lot like Nick Cage, and I was like, is this
He
guy
kinda
Nick Cage's
does.
cousin?
He could be-
There's some shots I'm like, oh, Nick Cage, let's go. I didn't know I wanted him in Saw, but I do really bad.
He's gonna be Jigsaw in the new
I
one.
can't wait.
That'd be so.
Yeah.
I would be so
That'd be
down with
amazing.
hearing his voice.
He's secretly been to like secret apprentice the whole
He
time.
actually trained Jigsaw.
The whole movie is just him taking place like in all the shots of all the previous movies as he just like comments and like does weird ass faces.
Hey, do you want to play a game? That's Nick Cage.
Gotta play a game with the Declaration of Independence.
yeah.
Yikes.
My flames are gonna burn you like Ghost Rider.
So yeah,
Give us that.
He just in the Jigsaw movie, it's just him making puns about his other movies, like in all his tapes. It's just like he's that. I would pay to see that. Not Nick Cage in the movie, but Nick Cage playing Nick Cage now as Jigsaw. Like he's quit being an actor and he wants to kill people for a living. And
I'd pay double for that.
yeah,
At least.
I'd take a Jigsaw fan event
yeah,
for
I was
that.
gonna say fan event.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
So Strong's
Nick
the Gilmore
Cage,
Girls.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had a hard time watching because I just thought of him from Gilmore Girls the whole time. I couldn't pull him out into this movie.
Mhm.
So I had a hard time watching it strictly for that reason. And yeah, that's probably about all I remember off the top of my head.
Fair enough.
I have notes, but they're not
Oh,
generally overview stuff. We'll get to them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so everything Dylan said about the Strong and Hoffman part, I can agree 100%. I think this is half a good movie. The 5 people trap is atrocious. I hate all the characters. It is like what Jessica was saying, right away you get it like, oh, they should have worked together. Like, it's not like, and I agree with Dylan, like, you don't need like a big twist, but like, this whole like big reveal about that and why they're all together, it's like, I don't care about any of them. Even Julie Benz, who I love as Rita and Dexter, I don't care about her. The tweaker guy annoys the shit out of me every time I watch this movie. And I think my main thing is that it's the first Saw movie where the traps really aren't intertwined with the main plot at all. Like, this is to me the first one where it felt like they just had traps for the sake of traps. Because, like, they don't interact with Hoffman or Strong or anything else like that. At least even the last one, the Riggs, like, he's eventually building his way to get to Jigsaw or the new Jigsaw or Eric Matthews, right? Like, it's tying to the overall continuity, where this literally just felt like this was like a video game of Saw, and it's like, oh yeah, like there's this 5-person thing and it's over here, but it feels so by itself. I said to Emma last night I was watching this again, maybe one day I'm going to edit down a version where it's just the Hoffman and Strong stuff, because that'd be a great 42-minute like movie. Like, I love the cat mouse game. That's the biggest thing about this movie. I love the back and forth, them trying to outsmart each other, like Hoffman just like smartly planning all this evidence stuff. That's great. The Jigsaw flashbacks, I'm kind of mixed. I don't feel like they do anything for John Kramer as the character, but I think he's there to like help Hoffman. Where I did feel like the Amanda and Jigsaw flashbacks were like a combination. It's like, oh, they helped each other. But this was really just about Hoffman. So I think it's like a twofer. And this is like, I think probably the least Tobin Bell's been in the movies other than the first one, because he's barely in any flashbacks, really. Like, he has that scene where he abducts
probably
Hoffman.
15 minutes. Something.
Yeah. I think, for me, the last thing I'll say, and overall, I think he has the best scene in the movie. I like the scene where him and Hoffman with the gun. That's a really fun scene. But other than that, he's kind of around. And I sound like Strom.
It's cold season here in Colombia.
Oh, yeah, big time. And, yeah, I'm a big fan of Strom. Luckily, I did not see Gilmore Girls, so I have no attachment to him there. This is the first time I ever saw this actor, and I liked him. And even though he has, like, the throat thing I was talking about, he pulls it off well. And, last thing, I guess, too, is I don't think there's two good traps in this movie. I think they're all kind of lame and kind of like...
A lot of nail bombs.
Yeah, like, I just felt like this is one where it did feel like we're starting to run out of ideas, and this was my least favorite for a long time until we get to another one coming up. But there's parts of this movie I hate, and there's parts of this movie I love. So I'm very, very mixed on it, so...
Interesting.
Currently, it's still in your top 5, though.
Yeah, currently it's still in the top 5 episodes we've seen. Yeah, they weren't here for that. Yeah. Taylor, you can start us off. You want to get in this opening, so we can start with the opening of the movie. Why did you want to start with...
Well, it's just the whole... I mean, I feel like it was just playing off the whole fact that, like, there's the traps that you can't really win or get out of, because I feel like he was in this situation, he went for it, and he's like, you know what, screw it.
Hang on, let's see if he has a point.
And he's going for it, and he pushes it, and he pushes the buttons far enough that the thing actually starts to rewind and the clamps go up, but it doesn't change the fact that the blade still comes down.
Right, but they clearly mentioned that.
Yeah, why, like, you didn't understand why that was happening?
Because that happened before, and Amanda, and then, like, Jigsaw brings it up, right, and he's like, that's like one of the problems there with Amanda is that he made traps.
Yeah,
she made traps that were just killing
lives.
people.
Yeah.
And that was, like, there was specifically a scene where they talked about that. Where, like, his trap was unwinnable.
Yeah.
Because
Hoffman wanted to be an execution. It wasn't the same as Amanda, where Amanda just wanted people to die. He wanted the guy that killed his sister to die, but make it look like
and he framed it
failed.
on Jigsaw.
Yeah.
And in case you were confused, that was before... That was like before Saw 1, timeline-wise.
Yeah.
Like, or...
It was.
I guess it would have had to have been. Yeah, so
When
that was before the
did
first
they
movie.
specifically state that it was before Saw 1?
Well, they
they
don't
know
specifically say it. I took it that way because Jigsaw is completely healthy and he's just a regular dude, whereas we already see in number 2 that he's like already kind of decrepit and like kind of chair bound for the most part. Like he's not walking around doing all the active stuff. So it could have I guess it could have been it could have been like really close to Saw 1. Like it could have been the day before, for example.
Well, it wasn't, because remember they have the flashback where him and Hoffman kidnapped the barbed wire guy.
Yeah.
So there's, like I said, there's not a line where it's like this takes place before Saw 1, but like there's multiple scenes that does show that this was originally before Saw 1, and technically Hoffman is the first apprentice.
And so the reason Hoffman made that trap so it actually moved is because he wanted to make it look like a Jigsaw trap that the guy could get out, but really he rigged it so that he would die no matter what.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess that could have been part of the investigation, is that they're like, hey, if this was the way out of the trap and this guy tried this technique and, like, broke his hands but didn't do anything, like, that's kind of fishy, but I don't think they really cared about that at that point. Or they didn't notice it, or maybe they didn't have the mindset that Jigsaw was making all these traps, like, winnable.
Yeah. Or they could have just had the thing like, oh, I guess he didn't do it in time, right? Like, he was starting to and then already killed him, right? So...
I mean, even if you look back at the time, like, there was that one trap he had, I think it was from the first movie, where he had, like, that safe combination, like, on the wall. It's like, that's not really winnable in some ways, right? So, I guess not every trap was always winnable.
And he's, like, a piece of garbage guy, so they're, like, not really gonna look into it that much, really. Taylor, you look like you're in deep thought. Like, if we just change the world, like... So you understand that the trap was purposely not winnable because Hoffman was just executing him.
Yeah, I mean, that puts a new perspective on it.
That's why in the beginning of the movie it's completely different when they flash back to it later.
I'm just not, I don't like that. I like how, you know, John Kramer's like, I haven't killed anyone.
But
that's not him.
He didn't.
No, I know. But when he says that in like the Hoffman flashback with him, like,
so a separate thought now.
Well, separate thought, but I like that idea. Like, he doesn't kill anyone. You know, the traps are winnable in this sense. Just like.
But it wasn't him that did it.
But the guy literally thought like, okay, I'm just gonna suck it up and break my hands because I'm gonna try and win this. I'm gonna go for it.
I
And
think
he
you're
does it. But then I feel like, the TV should have turned on and be like, oh,
I think I get it.
just
Taylor.
kidding. Your hand's breaking.
I
It
feel
doesn't
like I
matter."
think you kind of have some sympathy for this guy because you feel like he should have had a chance to win. So I'll tell you this: he killed someone in cold blood,
Yeah.
so he deserved to die. So
My
it's
fa-
okay.
My favorite is, I don't know why I would start with him so much, but like while he's getting cut up, he's yelling, "It was an accident!" Like how he killed Hoffman's sister. Flash forward like 40 minutes later when they go to Hoffman's sister and her throat is slit. I'm like, I don't know where this accident part comes in, but
Yeah.
so let's start with Hoffman because I will have a fault for Taylor. So the thing is like why Jigsaw's like, oh, I'm not a killer and Hoffman is. Jigsaw's kind of idea is to like rehabilitate Hoffman and make him be like, oh, there's like same thing as Amanda, there's a better way. I think they have similar paths, but they're coming from much different angles, and I think that's it where Amanda to me was like a really desperate person that needed Jigsaw. Where you look at the beginning of the movie, Jigsaw literally blackmails Hoffman to do this stuff to begin with, and then he eventually wants to do it by himself, but he starts doing it in a different way. And this is more, to me, I always felt that Amanda seeked out Jigsaw, even though he found her, where this was like Jigsaw's like pet project. Like this was just like, I need somebody to help me, I need something, and he happened to find this cop who's like executed a guy. So I think that's the balance of like, he is a murderer, but that's why Jigsaw wants him to like change his ways.
Do you think that, because Jigsaw in that scene, in the shotgun scene, he says, if I disappear for a certain amount of time, then these files will be leaked. Do you think he had like another person? Like some other source?
No, I think that was a complete bluff because when he says that, he also cocks the shotgun and he can see there's a bullet in there. So I get the feeling of like, he says that, but the second if Hoffman goes apeshit, he's going to turn around and shoot Hoffman. Jigsaw's about
it's
to
kind
become
of
a
like
killer.
when he says like, I don't know what these people are going to do. I just kind of make a guess.
Yeah, well,
picture what would happen in that world. Yeah.
What's that line when he's like, oh, when you know what the human mind, about when you look into the human mind, when you have an understanding of the human mind, you leave nothing to chance.
Right.
And that's what I think the idea is. Jigsaw's just the master at always knowing what people are gonna do. So yeah, I love Hoffman. I always have loved Hoffman. He's even in the next movie, I love him more. I think I liked the idea of, I said last cast, the idea of a cop being Jigsaw apprentice makes sense to show a bunch of stuff throughout the movies of like he has the files. Like it does make a bit more sense with the series of like, okay, a cop was helping him out this whole time. I like that. I like him as a character of, it's very simple. Only person he has is in his family is a sister. She dies, takes this guy out, and then this guy blackmails him to become technically a serial killer. Like whatever title they want to put it on.
Yeah.
But I liked that sense, and I like the sense that you eventually you see him grow from he actually cries at one point when he kidnaps a guy to like he's much more stronger than Amanda, and he seems like he accepts the message a lot more and doesn't get personally involved.
He has a much different perspective, right? And I think Jigsaw, obviously, he always picks what he's saying. Obviously, when he makes all those tapes, it's like really precise. Even like in the example from this movie, like all those tapes that he says for those people are worded so carefully. And I think he mentions one comment about how much like crime gets let loose early, and then obviously Hoffman has that the emotional reaction because that happened with his sister's killer as well. And so I think just the way he kind of convinced him to listen to him and go with him, I don't know, I thought it was well done. I really like that scene as well.
Yeah, and I think like
It
with
sets
him,
up the character well.
Yeah, he's a lot more calculating than Amanda. Amanda always felt like really emotion based.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, I always think of him as like a badass just because he's a bit more, I think, even though he started off good, he feels almost a bit more evil than Jigsaw. Like,
It's in look in his eye, man.
yeah, he takes pride in it, and like when Schramm's getting crushed by that wall, which I'm sure we'll talk about, like he's smiling, where Jigsaw, like you can see him like laugh or chuckle, but other than maybe Matthews, it never seems like he's fond of doing this. Like from our perspective, he could be, but it always looks like he is doing it for the greater good, right? Where Hoffman kind of looks like he eventually started to like it and maybe kind of get a little off on it, and that's what I guess the biggest thing I take away is that he's more calculating than Amanda, and he gives me similar vibes as far as John Kramer, but very, very different motives as why they're doing it. His is, like you said, crime-based and everything like that, so.
One thing as well, I at the start of this movie, I was maybe a little hesitant on where it was going just because it seemed like Strawn and, like, they were kind of setting up that the Strawn and Hoffman thing was going to happen. I was kind of curious, like, man, why did they kill off, like, all these cop characters? Like, they really could have done more with them, but I think it worked in the end. And yeah, the police captain, commissioner guy, he's kind of boring, but
Erickson, yeah.
But yeah, the other two, I don't know. Yeah, it's a really interesting story back and forth. So
yeah.
I think, you know, even though maybe they could have done more with those other cop characters, it's fine because these two are good, solid additions as well now.
Well, I think Strong does a good job because we only knew him from one movie, and I think he does a good job carrying it. So.
I mean, he was in 4, right? But
yeah, that's what I mean. Like just that movie we know him from. Yeah, and that's all. What are your guys' feeling on Hoffman over there? Obviously, Taylor's not already a fan because this whole trap business, but.
So this one basically was him pointing everything towards Gilmore guy.
Yeah, Strom. Yeah, Peter Strom. Yeah.
They look the same. Their names get mixed up
Gilmore
in my head
guy.
all the time. So yeah, I mean, from what I remember, you know, it was a really good cat and mouse game, kind of like you said. Every time you think one's hitting the edge, something kind of happens that kind of makes you wonder what is going to happen next. But I did really like all his scenes with Jigsaw where it is going back, kind of what you're saying, to the past, where, like, you know, he's showing him the little hole in the wall to be able to watch this trap, and, you know, is showing kind of some of the behind the scenes of things that they mentioned, so it really tied them all together, you know, because in the first movie there is that comment, like, the sicko likes to watch these things happen, and then it switches to this one, and it's actually showing him the hole and showing them watching everything happen.
It's more interesting than a camera, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the room.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of a really cool tie-in that they did.
And it's similar to Amanda too, right? They show her do like the bathroom trap and everything.
Yeah.
So like even seeing Hoffman, the one of my favorite is like he helps set up the house trap, and you get that little conversation like, why do you need Amanda? So you can feel like there's some tension there. Like, why do you need her in the game? Like, she shouldn't, like, she has no place in here. She's gonna ruin stuff. And Jigsaw's like, oh no, like, you know, she's just gonna lead people. So like it's very much like Amanda there, where it's like you get to see historical Saw events again, but from the bad guy's perspective. So.
Yeah.
Do you think Amanda knew that he had another accomplice?
Yes.
You think she knew, but she didn't know who it was? She just knew that someone was there?
You'll find out.
I'll find out.
Yeah, you'll find out.
The
Yeah.
classic age-old question.
Yeah.
I thought we were pretty done with Amanda, it seemed like.
I will, well, you'll find out. Because remember, to jog your memory, he is the one that left that note for Amanda. That still's unanswered from Saw 3.
Oh yeah, I always forget about
That's one of my favorite things. When Strong was in the room where Jigsaw died, it feels so long ago, because like this is really like a couple days after Jigsaw actually died, right? This movie, but like for us, it was Saw 3. So my favorite is like when he's in that room. And
Was
he's
it a couple days?
Well, maybe a couple of weeks.
Oh, I guess it would have had
right?
a couple days.
Because Saw 4 is at the same time as 3, so
like, he's the hero,
yeah. So
but
like literally,
his body's still in the room though, so technically it's actually kind of before 4 at the same time, because 4 is the autopsy.
whose body? No, he's not in a room with Jigsaw. It's just like the room where I guess that point. But later on in the movie, he's in the room. It's all been emptied out.
Yeah.
He's just like looking for more
like at
evidence.
most, I guess this movie takes place like within a week.
Yeah, enough for him to get a patch on his throat or whatnot. But
That quick patch.
yeah, so there is still stuff to Amanda that you will find out. But everybody was asking those questions when this movie ended.
Yeah, it's hard to remember all of these little details. Right?
Yeah. Everyone, the biggest questions were about, did Hoffman and Amanda know each other? What was the note? And the box was a big thing, that Jill, which we'll talk to later.
Right.
Those were like the 3 biggest, like, what are these? And the Saw forms, you know? So, yeah.
The Saw forms.
The Saw forms, they're huge.
Did you open them back up yet?
No,
They're
I don't
gone.
have time. Yeah, IMDb, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you know how I feel like those traps, you know.
He did one trap.
That one trap, you know. But I mean, I think, you know, the whole relationship between Hoffman and Strong was kind of cool. Like that's what really is kind of.
Are you sure they didn't know each other? Because technically, wouldn't it have been him that lifted up the rib chick? Because there was no. They make a comment.
Oh no! All I said is you find out You find out later on. I'm not spoiling anything for Dylan Musk.
Okay, well, the assumption that I made watching this is that they did know each other, because they talk about how there's no way a woman could have lifted up Agent Carrie.
Yeah, Carrie. Yeah.
By herself.
You've also seen the next movie though, as well.
I don't remember, honestly. I barely-
Hoffman does suggest that, John Craner was industrialist. He could have lifted her up there with a crane or something like
Sure.
that.
Without remember,
With a crane.
Sure, why not?
I honestly
Hey.
don't remember anything from the next movie. I barely remember
Fair
this
enough.
movie, and I watched it 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I made the assumption that they did know each other strictly because Amanda couldn't have lifted Carrie up by herself.
Well,
and there would've-
she could have put her in the trap on the ground and then, repelled her up. Survivor style.
I just want a 10-minute deleted scene of her like trying to get her up and Carrie falls. Like, damn it.
I don't know if I want that scene.
I do. Taylor, what did you feel about Hoffman? Honestly, I feel like you got some hatred towards this guy. But...
He's definitely not one of my favorites, but I mean that's because of what he does. I guess I don't
As
like
a
him
villain, though.
as a villain. That's why I don't
Yeah.
like him. But it's a good kind of don't like him. But at the same time, I don't like him. And I think
Giving me super mixed vibes over here. I don't know what to think.
It's those facial expressions that Trev was talking about, making you feel like he's really kind of got the intent to be a bad person.
Well, yeah,
He's
when
quite
he's talking about his sister, but then he's smiling about Frame and Strom, and you're like, oh.
to me, it's not the facial expression on him having the intent on being a bad person. He just is a bad person.
Is he? Well, because I feel like you don't think do you think Jigsaw is a bad person? Because he's doing the exact same thing as Jigsaw, and he has a...
I don't think, murder or killing, there's people dying, I don't know. That's another topic in itself. But Jigsaw as a person, I feel like Jigsaw
It's quite a topic.
isn't bad because I feel like he's just... There's a positive way you go about things, but he's taking a very drastic approach on how to...
Is there a positive way to go about killing people? So you think there is?
No,
That's okay.
Just rehab or something, I don't know.
So then...
Rehab.
So then in this scenario, Hoffman is not just killing some random dude off the street. He's killing someone that killed his last family member. So you don't think it's kind of like you would like the Punisher, right?
Well, here's the thing actually with Hoffman, because he's he helped make the rest of the traps from Saw 2, 3, 4, right? He set up the house trap, which is a fair trap.
He co-directed it.
To be honest, if you...
He probably set up the bathroom trap as well. Actually, I guess
no,
we see
Amanda, yeah.
Hoffman went ahead and yes, he took revenge for the killer that killed his family members, right?
Yeah.
So
Just one family member.
So-
All his family members. It was an accident.
She was pregnant!
He took-
quadruplets!
He took revenge, and we see how that happens. But then if we look back at the other Saw movie, with Jeff, Jeff is punished, and he's given the opportunity to have to forgive. That's Jigsaw's lesson.
Okay,
He put Jeff in a situation to forgive.
Much different. All those people were still alive when Jigsaw found Jeff. The judge is still alive, the witness is still alive. When Jigsaw finds the guy that killed Hoffman's sister, it's well, there's not much forgiveness gonna happen there. He's already dead.
Exactly. That's why there should have been a harsher punishment for Hoffman. But Jigsaw's very much he sees
How do
the
you know
other
there's
side.
not? Because the last thing in Saw 4, when he got that tape out of his stomach, he says, "You think it's over, but you will be tested."
Yeah, that's true. But that comes after though. After he was recruited and after he went through the certain process. I feel right away at the beginning he should have undergone a more serious thing than he wakes up and there's a shotgun there. Jigsaw's what do you see?
This was his first apprentice, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like he was even worth the actual Jigsaw face-to-face, meat. I feel like he should have got Billy the Puppet.
Did anyone in the house, were they in there because they killed someone?
Probably.
In Saw 2?
Yeah.
Probably, or something like
I don't
that, yeah.
remember.
Because, if you look at Amanda as the apprentice, too, her encounter was even with Billy the Puppet at first, and she went through a harsh kind of realization. So I feel like Hoffman really got off easy.
Do you feel, though, there's any use of Jigsaw? This is where I feel like Jigsaw is a bad person, that, yeah, it's kind of, he wants to rebuild this guy, but it also helps that he's a police officer, and he kind of just wants to use him.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
That's a
I
huge
feel
part.
with him blackmailing him, that's the whole, yeah, he wants an apprentice, but at the same time, he's just using
That's
him.
totally why he gave him, he wanted him to live, right?
Yeah.
More, he wanted him to live more than a lot of other people. Because, yeah, he always, he always lets these people live, but it's not necessarily that he wants them to live. Whereas Hoffman, it's pretty obvious that he uses a lot of the information that he gets. And that kind of answers the question, actually, of, we've always said, why does he always just kill criminals? He kind of answers that in this movie.
Yeah.
And obviously Hoffman's a good way to get information on all sorts of people, where to find them, what they actually did, and anything else.
Well, even then, you're referring to Saw 1 bathroom trap. We see in this movie that Hoffman is the one that planted the evidence to tap towards Gordon, right? He gives him a pen, and he's like, "Oh, there's a doctor, and he needs some healing." You know, great line. But he has been a part of a lot of these traps. So you could say Hoffman's a bad guy, but I feel like Jigsaw's just as bad if he's like, you know, using this guy just to, you know, like that's what I mean. Hoffman just wants to survive. So like it's kind of okay he doesn't get a trap because it's kind of a you know, scratch my back, scratch yours. And you're like, I'll survive and help you, but at the same time, you know, you're gonna keep me alive and I'll give you information on these people. You know, like it's kind of a.
Well, it's like if a director makes a bad movie, but the actors did okay doing what they did, do you blame the bad movie on the actors that did a good job, or the shitty director that couldn't make it work well?
Yeah.
You know, it's the director. It's Jigsaw.
I feel like just because that first trap, he like hates Hoffman. You know.
Yeah,
You
well,
gotta take that bias out, man.
and there's like reasoning behind it. It's not like this random way.
Yeah, I know. Just he's such
And,
a
like, why were
great-
you
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes it's okay to just dislike a character for no particular
That's fair
reason.
enough.
But you weren't this mad about Amanda doing all the
And
unwinnable
Amanda
traps.
does a lot. She does
Yeah.
like 3 people with these traps that are like
Agent Carey and the guy with the shit through his lip and
Eric Matthews. Like
Yeah.
he didn't die, but she did try to kill him.
Smashed his head.
Yeah.
Poor
Yeah, you didn't have any.
True enough. There were some interesting kind of things going on with that. But yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know. Just I don't know. Hoffman is like he's the main attention now, and just like wow, that dude just.
What does that even mean?
Just
You don't know what
hands.
It's a Star Wars thing. You're gonna get shot. Oh no, I've been shot.
Are we talking about just Hoffman, or are we jumping into Strawn?
Where
as
do
well?
you take us? Where do you Strom's what?
Strawn.
Oh, I think you said Strom's mom. Sorry, you take
Strom's
us.
mom.
Where do you want to talk about Strom? You talk about Strom.
Okay, well I was gonna say like
Taylor's
I,
favorite character of the franchise.
I-
He does look like Nick Cage. Are you
It
surprised?
does look like Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I was very I don't
Turned on.
No, definitely not turned on. But I mean,
Okay.
I
was.
I really got a kick out of how there you see Jigsaw's body and he like kicks the door open and sure enough there's another one of his fucking
Yeah, I
his
know.
fucking tapes. Like Jigsaw had it all along.
I
Just
actually
like he
hate
talked,
that
he had
tape.
all the fucking tapes everywhere.
I hate that tape because he's addressing Strom. It's like anybody could. He should have said like, "Oh, if you're listening to this," but anybody could have walked through that. You had a chance of it being Amanda, Rig,
Yeah.
Jeff.
I've
but
learned
then-
Jeff. Strong. No, it's Jeff.
Yeah, because the Strom just once. I've always said this in Saw 4. If he's like, put the gun down. If Jeff just throws the gun down, the gun. Jeff's alive. He can get that tape. That's what I mean. Like that's where it's like.
I feel I go into these movies now with my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
You have to allow it. Like Jigsaw.
This is where it's
It
too
makes
far
no.
though.
It's way too far.
Yeah.
And I really just wish he became a chess player instead of a fucking killer because with the amount he can like read people's minds and read how many steps forward, he would have been better than Bobby Fischer. So.
I've always wondered this. Was Strom kind of screwed no matter what? Because like Jigsaw's like kind of like heed my warning, or like was Strom just kind of supposed to sit there in that room till the police showed up?
I think he was. Well, I think it was in the test. Like, oh, it's just playing off of like the person, like knowing what the person's gonna do. Like he knew he was headstrong. He knew he would persist and go forwards. That's like so many other traps we've seen before, where Jigsaw legitimately warns them, but they're so headstrong and they're prideful or they're arrogant and they ignore the rules of the game and they go for it. But I mean I think that it was specifically obviously set up for him to die. He was meant to die, obviously, but he didn't.
That's another point of contention, because everyone's talked about that for years. So he gets put in that water trap, which is actually one of my favorite traps in the franchise. I just love it. I love the simple traps. Just this box and water gets filled, and like the way it's shot and it's turning
Only
around.
they let bees into that box, and like someone else we've seen.
Yeah. But my thing is, everyone's always debated this. Was that pen left there on purpose or not? Because was that supposed to be Strom being executed again? Because at that point, then that's Jigsaw saying, "Okay, we got to take out Strom."
I found it really weird that was left on him.
Yeah.
It seems like a weird accident to make, but I also think it's maybe a bit too far to assume that he would take the pen up. He'd be able to take the pen apart and use it as a breathing apparatus, because I feel like that wouldn't work in a lot of cases. Like I feel like if I tried that, I'd just kill myself accidentally.
He has training.
Right.
He's Special
Well,
Agent
yeah.
Peter Strom.
I mean, like
He's done it before in other parts.
The average detective probably has a notepad and pen, I would think, because if you look at the at the oil drum or whatever, it just had the like primary things like the gun, the flashlight, and like
So you're saying Hoffman put the pen in
No,
his
I think
hand.
he obviously probably had like a pen or two in his notepad.
Things,
or
right?
A
anything.
pen or two. googly
Yeah,
pen.
Maybe a pencil. Who knows?
Well, he normally probably wears a bulletproof vest, though, right? Or like.
I think Peter Strong's too badass for that.
Well,
Oh yeah, he is the bullet.
You know, so I
He
mean,
was born.
there could have been an assumption that all his shit's gonna be in his vest, that he doesn't stick a pen in his pocket.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is one of my favorite scenes in this movie. Actually, watching him trach himself.
Mhm.
But I still think it's weird that there's a pen in his pocket. Like, I'm sure he would have fucking checked his pockets if he wasn't detailed enough to, like, unhitch his gun and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's also simple to say, like, oh, what's he going to do with this pen? You know, he's not going to shatter the glass with it.
Yeah, but why would you leave that to chance if you're trying to just...
Maybe,
That's why I've
maybe
always-
it's just, like such a wild... Like, I did not expect at all that he would stab his neck. Like, that's not something I thought of in the moment. Obviously, they have a lot more time and smarter than me, these characters are, but still, like, it's a safe assumption... I don't know, I would say it's a safe assumption that there's nothing he can do with that pen to get out of this trap.
See, that's the only way I could try to spin it is, even though, because when Hoffman sees Strom, he
I mean, really,
looks
like-
mad.
Like, if we're going really realistic with it, I don't know if that pen, like, just that little pen cover is strong enough to, like, pierce your skin. Anyway, like, it doesn't really make a whole lot
Well,
of
to
sense.
go in right here, yeah, like...
You
all
think
you
so?
have, yeah, oh, for sure.
But let's play devil's advocate and feel like Hoffman does know this. That's the only reason I feel like I tell myself that he did put it in there, and he's mad when he sees Strom, but I think he was like, oh, damn, like, he got out of the trap. I didn't want him to. I hope he would die.
I don't think he was mad. I think he's surprised.
That-
I feel like...
Surprised.
That
definitely
too,
surprised.
because my thing is, if he just want him dead, I know they're all about, like, all these games and everything, but this is the moment where you just shoot him in the fucking bathroom, and, like,
Yeah.
Eric Matthews was, even then, put him in a fucking...
I mean, it's different circumstance, but he has just straight up killed someone.
Well, yeah, even look at Eric Matthews. He was missing for months. Then put him in that little room Matthews was in, you know? So that's why I feel like, who knows about the pen or not, I do feel like Hoffman did put him in there with the pen thinking, okay, he does technically have a way out, like, I'm following the Jigsaw code, but he's probably not going to do this. And then when he saw it, it's like, oh, like you said, surprise
Really?
or mad, whatever it is.
Interesting.
Just because I only feel like, wouldn't he execute him then? You know, like, that's my
But-
thing. If he wanted to be the hero, that's my
I don't
only
think
thing.
so.
Well, because if you do it in that really, if you do it in the classic Jigsaw way, with like setting up an actual trap, that way when his body is found, it just like is assumed to be like a Jigsaw
Yeah.
trap, right?
I guess, but then why not put him in that same cell that Matthews had?
They could
then,
just
you
kill
know?
him in Dexter style, bury him in the bottom of an ocean, and
Yeah.
like no one's gonna find
Pig
him.
guts.
Because, I mean, if he shoots him, there's still going to be, like, the ballistics from the gun on either his or...
Then why not put him in that Matthews jail cell and just like let him die in there, or the bathroom? You know, that's my thing. Where it's like I feel like if he could have killed him,
Yeah.
there would have been other ways that he would have done it. I think
Or I don't know. I mean, maybe he just wanted to kill him in a.
a cool
Fun
way.
way, yeah.
I've been working on
Well,
this
maybe
spot
he
trap.
did-
Well, that's what the whole fucking funhouse is, man. There's all sorts of weird ass traps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the using two giant, what were they, ice blocks, just hammers to smash some
True.
guy's head.
Hoffman
Who's
really
standing
likes-
on an ice cube? Like that's clearly him just fulfilling some sadistic need inside of him to come up with these weird ass ways to kill people.
Hoffman must love Mario Maker. You know, like
See,
the
but-
levels he made.
Oh,
Is
he's
there-
really good at it.
If he just sticks him somewhere in the house, though, and people start investigating, there's a chance that he could be found and he could say something, right?
There is, but he never saw Hoffman, right? All he sees is this pig guy again. I'm like, I feel like there's more ways. I think realistically, that's what they're going for, that he forgot the pen. But this is a, like, Travis moment where for me to make the movie better, I say that,
Sure,
like,
yeah.
it was an actual trap. And I guess what? No, I lost it. I had a great point, but it was gone. Sorry.
Do you think, like, what if Strawn decided not to go down there? How long do you think Hoffman would have waited down there for him?
That's what I wonder. If Strom decided to sit there and like, I'm gonna wait for the police, because the police were coming, right? I think Hoffman would have just dipped out and left. I don't think he would have ran at Strom, because that's a little risky. He just saw Jeff get taken out, so I don't think he wants to be another Jeff. But
Yeah.
that's the other part I was talking about when you're talking about the ice cube the trap and whatever. The other trap at the end with the walls coming in, this elaborate glass box is really made for nothing. Like, I guess I know it's supposed to be like, you know, so it's like bulletproof and everything like that, but really, why is there... I know there's glass in there to make it seem like it's a trap so Strom will get in it, but really it's like, you could have just made a fucking coffin and been like, get in this Strom, and like, he still probably wouldn't get in it. So like,
Yeah.
Hoffman and these movies are really into these traps that are larger than life, that really just
Oh,
look
yeah.
cool, but you know, I don't know what
He just wanted to be able to
serious.
watch.
Yeah.
Get
I don't know why
smashed.
he
I guess
quit
so.
his job as an engineer to become a cop. I mean, he did. So.
Well, I guess we were still technically talking about Strom. We got carried away from the thing. I don't have much to add. I think I talked about him. I like him. I like that. The thing I like about him most is I feel like he's like carrying the torch for everyone that has died, you know, because like
Yeah.
Matthew's gone, Carrie's gone, Perez is gone,
good
Riggs.
point.
So I feel like he like feels like he's the last samurai. And he's the only one that feels like Hoffman is, you know, he's the only one that feels that Hoffman is Jigsaw, and no one else will believe him. So I like that. He's a very determined guy. The determination leads him to his death. You know, in like a scene that the director said the reason they did that because they thought about a cool way to kill him. And like in a movie, you always see that wall thing, like it's always stopped or someone stops it. This is I think the only movie in the world that like you actually see the guy get squished by the wall, and it's a cool way to go.
Star Wars isn't bold enough to do that.
Oh no, maybe Last Jedi, Kylo Ren. But like even to down like his arm breaking. But I do like that even in his last moments, he like throws his jacket and he puts his sleeves up and he's like looking for a way out. You know, even in his dying moment, Strom's like, I'm still gonna bust out of here, and nope. But
he does not.
Yeah, I was really sad when he left, or when he died. When I watched the first one, like, oh, I could have saw like Cat and Mouse trilogy.
Considering like the character we get in Saw 4 is pretty boring. He's pretty generic.
He's basic. He's special. He's
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean his partner is the same dealio, right? Well, she's worse.
She's worse.
But yeah, no, I like him as well. I think his storyline, or at least like the events that occur in this movie, the places he goes, I think it's fun scenes to see. And while he's not like one of my favorite characters, he fulfills the role of like what his character's purpose was in this movie. And I think while he's not an amazing character, his story was really interesting in this movie, and it was done well. And then I really like the ending too. I think that's a fun trap, and I just love the shots back and forth and how Strom just slowly goes down. And he just like he's shooting it. He tries like everything.
I know you are,
he climbs to the top, and like that's what I would do. I was like I would climb it up, see if I can make it up that way. So I like that he did that. Well, and I love the shot of when like his arm breaks and like the blood kind of spews down onto the coffin. And it's just over Hoffman's face. Yeah. And then like he's just like sunk into the ground. Like I think it's a really it just looks really cool. Like it's a really interesting shot scene, and it's done well.
I even like
it's not like I still don't really like a whole lot in Saw. If they're like introducing a trap or showing a trap, they like the camera just goes like fucking ham. Like it really does bother me. Still, like they do that in this movie, but they don't do it in that scene, and I like that.
I do even like how the glass box even has like tubes in it to almost make Strom think like, oh shit, water again. Like I don't want to do this. Like every single way. It does annoy me a little bit that he stops the tape halfway through.
And the voice physically changes when he plays it again.
What do you mean it physically changes?
Like the first half is obviously Jigsaw, and the second half after he hits play again is obviously.
Oh, I didn't take that. It's Hoffman the whole way through. It's Hoffman's version of the Jigsaw.
Yeah, because there's always like a little bit of effects like put on the voices. I did notice that Hoffman's is more, it's more emphasized, I guess, than Jigsaw's, whereas his kind of is more monotone, I guess. But I don't know. It seemed to me like him just doing, you know.
I feel like the first half is different than the second half. Like every time I watch it, it sounds
interesting. I'll go to look for that next time.
No.
Or listen for it.
Listen for it rather. Mm-hmm. Close my eyes and just
But yeah, why wouldn't you finish the whole thing?
I guess because he just wanted to outsmart Hoffman, but that didn't go his way.
But like, even just let it keep playing while you're fucking around. Like, why do you physically need to stop it?
That's Strom, you know. That's who he is. Do we have anything more to add on Strom?
He definitely, to me, he feels like the smartest so far of all the agents. To a point.
Let's think about that for a second. So who are you talking about? Like, okay, not agents, but all the cops. Yeah. So you got like Well, I'm gonna first of all say Hoffman's the smartest because he's the one that's killing them all.
Well, we'll put him aside. He's a Jigsaw friend.
Remove Tap's partner because he's not smart.
Sing
is not smart. So he's not even in the conversation. I think Tap is pretty smart, but maybe he was a bit too smart and it led him to insanity.
He was smart to a point, and then he became insane. Matthews is too hot-headed. He could easily win his game, but he's just too... I think Strom... I would say Strom is the smartest. Riggs is not. I think the next is Carrie. Carrie was pretty smart, but the thing is... And actually, I'll give her more credit because she would have won her game, right? But Amanda rigged it. So really, I'll give her credit and say she's tied, because I feel like she had a bit more understanding of Jigsaw, the person, and his ideals more than anyone else, and she would have won her game. And Strom didn't win it.
That was not a fun game to win.
Yeah, and Strom did win his game. At the end of the day, like, even though I feel like
he won a game,
he has to go through multiple games, so it's a little like you're gonna die. It's like we talk about last
between the two games that were both rigged for you to die, he technically did out-rig his...
You think he... it was rigged, but in my story, it was not rigged.
No,
and he
it
won
was-
his game.
it was rigged.
No. But, like...
It would be cool if Riggs won a rigged game.
But, like, with him against Strom, this just feels like the last few movies where it's just, like, he has no reason to be in these traps anymore. It's just pure, like, oh, the cops are after us and we gotta take them out, you know? Like, yeah. Let's talk about the trap portion and those people now.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the
'Cause,
5 room.
yeah, I think obviously there's 5 of them, so we got lots to say. The traps. Where do we want to start?
Let's just like work our way through the traps. Start in the beginning.
So it just starts with them waking up, and there's that stupid... I hate these all traps, I'm sorry. There's the stupid dog collar trap where they are tied to the wall, which apparently is happening in a Jigsaw.
I know.
Because the trailer has
Yeah.
them like that, except for some
I
saws.
was getting some deja vu.
One thing, I wasn't on the trailer reaction. If you guys did one, where
No.
like there's 5 people in the beginning, and then the next shot there's already 4 people, so you like know someone doesn't make it through.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed. They show who...
Yeah,
if you
there's
look
someone
closer, they
lying on the
show...
ground.
Well, no, they actually show who like makes it to the end, the last 2
I don't
Yeah.
remember. So
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not
watch the
gonna
trailer
watch-
again. If you
Yeah.
haven't watched Jigsaw trailer, I wouldn't
I'm a big
because...
fan of not watching trailers.
Yeah, but it does look like it's
Yeah.
going to be the same thing of like 5, 4, 3, and I'm not like I guess just before we go that I wasn't a fan of this concept, and I felt like the characters I did like were dying off. Maybe just the reporter guy, I really like him, and he's second gone. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I don't care. The tweaker guy, oh my god, it's so annoying. I think I feel like Rita is just really boring in this. Like she's just a real estate person who's just like always talking like in mysterious
Rita?
ways. Yeah, from Dexter. Yeah.
Weird.
She doesn't have blonde hair.
Not the blonde hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the fact that I liked her in Dexter helps me
Yeah.
to like this character more. I don't know. I didn't dislike it as much as you guys did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I found it like I it wasn't really a big twist for me, and I guess I'm fine with that. Like I said earlier, like I don't think this movie was nearly as big of a twist as any of the previous movies, but I was okay with that because it doesn't really matter to me if they keep using that gimmick, even though obviously they want to.
Even Hoffman and Strom doesn't have like a twist. It's like, okay, he framed Strom, but it's like we saw that coming.
Yeah,
the
it's
whole
not
movie.
like a big reveal setup like the other ones. But yeah, I don't know. I agree. I wanted to see more of the journalist guy, and I'm still like I still don't really understand why he didn't tell them who he was. Like I understand he was like, oh, let's just play the game and figure it out. But obviously, like one of the things Jigsaw mentions in his intro for them is like talk to each other, get to know each other. And I think that's why I liked why I like this trap is because this is the first time we really see part of the trap without a specific timer on it, whereas they can take the time to talk to each other and have conversations without always being on a clock, and then when they're ready to like start whatever this new game is, then they can close the door and hear the instructions for this one. So I like that dynamic of it. I think it changed the pacing of it, and it made it like transition in an interesting way, whereas I felt like my problem with Saw 2, and my voice is dying on me here. The problem with Saw 2 is that
just like Strom,
like all these people were on like a 2-hour timer or hour, whatever it was, and they like didn't use their time wisely, and they were really stupid, and like I didn't understand anything they were doing, whereas these people took the time, and yes, they all didn't make great decisions, but they at least took time to talk, and like some of them were trying to have these conversations and figure out who each other were. And I don't know, I thought the pacing of it was interesting. And the traps themselves, there was a lot of nail bombs, which was I mean, none of the traps were great, I guess. Like even the first room trap with the dog collars, like the CGI on that
when
girl
she gets her head cut off,
was quite awful.
Some walking
noticeably awful, which is something that Saw does pretty well for the most part when they're killing people. Like it usually looks pretty good. Like
these newer
the-
ones.
Like the arm break.
and
like,
the brain surgery scene to me is like almost too good. Like
Yeah.
I have to look away at times.
These new ones, they use CGI a little bit more, just to...
But I like talking about the first room, but I liked the idea that all of them had the same key, and that one person could have gone and smashed it, and then they all could have just used that same key. So I think that's an interesting. I don't know. I thought that was an interesting element to that trap.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of your pros. I think I just say like the same thing as the beginning. I guess my biggest thing is just that it's not connected to anything else, right? That's my hard thing is like it just feels like a DLC. That's what I was trying to talk about. That's my main thing. Like I like the trap at the end, which we'll talk about with the things, and I like the idea of working together. I think the other thing I don't like is the reason they're all there is really convoluted with this whole burning a house down and like, oh, you a crack dealer played me while you were.
It's one of those things where it's like, how does Jigsaw know all of this? I have no fucking clue. But
Hoffman.
but yeah, I mean, it is a little convoluted for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I wanted to see more of the reporter, because I don't like. I would have liked to
He's
see
the one with the
him.
facts.
I would have liked to see him explain that. Maybe.
Yeah.
And I like before it was like that realization at the end, perhaps. But
Yeah.
obviously he wasn't down for that. He just wanted to fuck shit up and get rid of the
Survival
junkie.
of the fittest.
Yeah.
Get rid of the junkie. Yeah.
This trap did irk me actually.
Irk.
It irked.
You
Yeah.
old man.
Which one? The collar?
The collar one. Not in the sense that it was a collar and they got blades behind their necks, but just in the sense, like, you know, I think it was a very interesting idea based on how they all look to just gain success in life for themselves, or in that sort of sense, and then the irony of it was that they could have just all worked together to get out of it, but they couldn't. They weren't capable of that, so I thought that was very interesting for a trap. And
But what irked you?
It irked me that I liked how the one guy was like, I can't remember his name or whoever it was, but he was very calm, and he was like, and immediately he was able to analyze the trap and figure out,
reporter,
like, the reporter, he's able to connect the dots and figure out what was going on, and I like that, because that's exactly what you needed when you're in this kind of situation. And the tweaker guy, which I hate like you do, he was just freaking out, and he ruins it, because, I mean, that one guy, he probably could, I don't know, he probably wouldn't have been able to, like, come to the conclusion that my one key can unlock all the traps, all the neck collars, but he probably, if he was given enough time, he probably, and planned it right, could have stormed forward really quick, smash the one, unlock his neck, and smash all the others and get them all their keys in time.
I think his problem was obviously he was only there for a certain time, but he seemed like he just didn't even conceive the concept that they were all supposed to live. He really seemed like he was taking it room to room. One of us has to die every time. I don't want it to be me. I'm stronger. I'm bigger than all you guys.
Yeah.
Let the junkie die. I'm gonna kill the rest of you when I get a chance. You know. So I think while he was good at the traps themselves, he wasn't thinking of the overall problem, which was kind of the purpose of the trap in the first place.
Yeah. I agree.
That's true.
Well, there's a couple different ways too. I mean, not only, you know, they could have worked together. Okay, you go out and we'll stand back and then we'll rotate. You know, but the other thing too, like after one person unlocks theirs, why wouldn't you be like, yo, pass me that key? I'll try it. Like instead.
I think it's just like adrenaline. You're about to get decapitated.
To be fair, like as a viewer, I didn't think about that. I figured there's 5 boxes with 5 keys. Actually, at first what I thought was there was going to be 2 lines of 5 people, and then if one person pulled on one side of the wall, it would like pull another person back on the other side, and that was when I first saw. That's what I thought.
The reporter looked like he like pulled his back and then made
the way
the
it
junkie.
does a little
There's some
bit,
cuts that kind of made me think that at first. But yeah, I mean, I kind of just assumed like, okay, there's 5 boxes, 5 keys. Like it'd be different if there was 4 boxes and 4 keys, then maybe they would try that. But there was 5. You know, there was one for everyone.
You guys don't think they're connected? Like only one could go forward at a time?
I think some of them.
I think they could all.
They were.
Oh no, I thought they could only one at a time.
Yeah,
that's the way I took it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
There was definitely multiple moving.
Because there was, that's, I mean, it's like a balancing act, because the thing is, when the tweaker guy gets his key, he hits it, and he drops it and it goes forward, he has to pull forward more to get the key, and he holds the girl who gets her head cut off back, and she can't go and get the key. So there is like a little...
I just thought they all had like a certain amount of tension that was pulling them back.
No,
I didn't know it was necessarily tied to like what other people are doing.
Yeah, I think they're all tied together. And that's why
sense.
she doesn't get a chance to get the key, and pop goes the weasel.
Pop goes the weasel.
Mm-hmm. Anything else to add on that one?
Well, on the first trap?
Yeah, just the first one.
Not really.
Second
I will give a shout out to that, to Rita, I guess, that it was smart for her to grab all the keys, despite the fact that there wasn't really any point to them. I think it was smart that she grabbed them all.
Well, especially now we're in the world where it seems like Jigsaw's more known. Like later on, you see Jill, which we'll get to later, reading like a People magazine or whatever, a Time magazine, about like his face on it, John Kramer. So it's known about these traps and everything like that.
Right.
So second room is there's a bunch of glass bottles, whatever. They gotta get key to get into a door or a entrapment so they can not get hit by the nail bomb. This for me is like one of the lazy ones of like, we're just gonna put glass balls up there with keys and they're gonna break them.
It's almost like they showed up on set with like, okay, this is, you know, the director bought us like this, you know, warehouse. We can kind of make some traps, and they walked in that room. They're like, I think this could work right here.
It's probably the
That's
last
gonna save us fun. That's gonna save us a bunch of money. Let's just use this room as is.
Our budget's only got $50
Yeah.
left, so what can we do with $50? Let's
We'll
go to
wait
Home
until the
Depot
second
and find
room.
out.
Or they built this really big elaborate trap and it like broke and like, well,
Yeah.
we can do some glass on the walls. Like, I guess
There might have been something more elaborate there. Like that thing they had on the roof. That was
Yeah.
kind of elaborate. Is that like a hanging garden of Babylon? Like,
we just get like 2 to 5 minutes of like the girls picking up the keys and being like blank, and like it's just boring. There's no tension
Yeah.
whatsoever. And at this point, I don't. And then, like I said, the reporter dies, so it's like, ugh, like. And then there's like my least favorite line in the movie when he's like, "It's survival of the fittest," and he's breaking this stuff, and then the girl who's like the property manager hits him, and she's like, "Survival of the fittest, my ass," and it's like, no, that's still survival of the fittest. Like what you're saying doesn't make sense. I hate that whole sequence.
fair enough.
I don't understand. Yeah, like this guy, if he wanted to be survival of the fittest, why wouldn't you fucking knock someone else first?
He
Like-
did. He knocks the tweaker guy.
Yeah, because
yeah, I know. He chooses like the
one guy that's all.
I
Oh,
think
you back up.
I think his idea was, hey, I'm kind of picking for him to die, so like me and you two girls can survive. Let's just make it this guy that dies, and they obviously go against him. I think that was his idea. He was always trying to get like the weakest one, and then they turn on him, and then he's wait.
And you got nailed on.
He got nailed. He got nailed.
Yeah. Well, that was something for me too when I was watching. I was like, why didn't they have multiple people? Like, these are some big ass tubes. They could have probably fit 5 in one of these tubes.
Yeah, that's what I thought
So-
too.
A little confusing for me, but I mean, I also understand that he was knocked out, so it makes sense that he didn't try to fly in there with them. But
Yeah.
bad decisions by them.
Well, I thought like even like the first key when the first chick gets it, I'd be like, yo, like stop, I'm coming in with you. I wouldn't even be
Right,
worrying about the glass and shit on the ground.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh yeah.
I guess the idea is just that now that one of them died, they all have it in their mind that everyone has to die.
Right. I mean, at that point they all kind of assumed what the writer
See,
assumed.
I guess that kind of goes back to the thing with her grabbing the keys. Why wouldn't you look at all the different locks when the doors
she
don't?
does at the last trap.
Yeah, but I mean,
But it doesn't match. Like they're the same keys.
the door doesn't lock until you close it. So she would have had time to like look at the locks and the keys.
There
and
is
then-
still, but there is still a timer though once a trap starts though. That's one thing because the bombs go off, right? So they're always just like, oh, let's do this. They close the door. Like there's a few times they close the door and then the bomb goes off. So they do after a trap only have a select time, and because Jigsaw doesn't want them sitting there for like days, so like they do have still like 15 minutes after a trap to be like, okay, well.
And I understand from like a movie pacing wise why there isn't like an extra 5 minutes of them.
It's
just,
like the horror
inspecting.
movie logic thing, though, right?
I mean, it's like the whole Saw thing. Like, there's a lot of these traps. Like, even the bathroom trap. Like, there's a lot of corners and details that if I was in that trap, I'd be looking at everything. But I mean, is it really worth it to show inspecting every detail of something like in a movie?
I think you're supposed to take into account that these guys are under high pressure situation.
Yeah.
Life's online, so it's like that's why you're
Your
not always
body's
making the
in shock.
smartest decisions, right?
Yeah.
So, Taylor, any thoughts on the glass room or whatever?
They could have all fit in the one tube. To be honest, so like
It's true.
You're not wrong.
they could have tubed it up, but they
They
didn't.
tubed it.
I mean, that irks me. But I mean, they were all like, you could clearly see
This
one
whole
person.
movie seems to irk you.
Yeah, but I really liked it though, which is
Oh
weird.
wow.
But
That
I
is
mean,
weird.
Oh my god.
Beyond me, even.
The one girl goes into the tube, and then she closes the door behind her. I mean, closing the door is not really going to do anything. It's like a great door, so I mean,
That's true.
stuff could still fly through there. But she did it because
But they
Less stuff could fly through. So, like,
A
if
little
his
bit.
whole entire head wouldn't popped off, it was open, and his head would fall in there. The grate, not making it through the grate.
so she closed it
Well,
so the
it
guy's
could.
head wouldn't
Well,
fall in
it's
there.
not necessarily true. It could move with enough force that it penetrates through the fence.
Wow. That'd be dramatic.
The one thing I'm wondering though is like, why? Like, what was the reporter saying? Like, cause right before that bomb blows up, he said, "Guys, hey, wait!"
He just
like,
said wait.
yeah, but I feel like I feel like he
At
came-
YouTube Geek First.
He came to realize something that maybe it could have saved all their lives, like something like
No,
a
I think
jig
he
in
was
the
just a
plan.
coward.
A jig in the plan.
A jig in the plan. I
Well, he
feel like
wasn't in on the plan.
yeah, but he
It's
realized
Hoffman!
I've been writing
He's
a
also
story.
been doing a story on that
Yeah.
the whole
I
time.
think this cop was
Spider-Man is Peter Parker!
Superman is Clark Kent. The whole he had every scoop in the world.
He just has like a large list. The movie just somehow goes into like a freeze frame while he just reads this list.
In Justice League, he comes in like, oh, that character. But the funny enough thing is, he had all these scoops, but he's like, I want to write the story about this burning house first because this seems pretty juicy.
8 people died rather than Batman killing hundreds.
Yeah. Oh, do we have anything more to add on the second trap?
No.
No. Okay, let's move on to the back.
Well, actually, there was some various batons and stuff. Did they to smash the?
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't really notice those.
No one brought any either, did they?
No.
They were kind of just chilling in there.
And no one oh, maybe this.
I don't know why I brought it
useful
up. Doesn't
later.
really matter at all. Anyway,
Well, because
trap
it might have
three.
been useful later. Because
It could've been.
did he use a crowbar
To what?
to smash shit?
No,
there was-
he used stick.
It was
Was it
just
stick?
there. It was.
No, but
Cane.
it was it metal? Could it have been brought to the tub and been useful?
I felt like it was wood.
I think it was wood.
Yeah.
Never mind
Oak.
then.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the tub then.
Then we're on to the tub trap. Another I don't know. I feel like all these traps from here are just kind of lame and cheesy. They just have the scene where they decide that somebody has to get killed and go in the tub, which then later it's revealed that they could have worked together and all got a small shock. But then the two girls circle the tweaker, but then Julie Benz for some reason decides to kill her just because I think she said she was a bitch or something.
Well, because
She knew.
No, because
they all knew.
No, because
though.
she threw the tweaker into the tub, and then Julie Benz was mad about that, so
Yeah,
she smacked
fair
her in the
enough.
head. Which is,
And then we get this.
Because
scene.
that girl had a bad track record. She just knocked out 2 people.
Yeah, and then we get the scene.
That trap for me.
Hang on.
Okay.
To set up, they stab her with a bunch of stuff that's metal, a big hook in the head, and then they electrocute her. Yeah, they electrocute her body, and the door opens. So, just in case no one's seen this masterpiece.
If you haven't seen this masterpiece, yeah. I think for me this trap, I don't know if I zoned out or something, but when Jigsaw it was explaining it, I didn't really know what they were supposed to do, and then obviously they're like, oh, we got to put a guy in the bathtub, but I don't think I would have. I didn't think of on the spot that if they could have all held it and it would have worked, but.
Yeah. Don't you still feel I know they say a small shock, but don't you feel like they still would have been getting shocked quite a bit? Because that voltage still would have been going through all of them. I know it would have been spread out, but I wouldn't have. The way her body was violently shaking, I still think they would have been getting.
No, but the thing, if you in science class, 7th grade, you had a light bulb and you put it to a battery and then the battery to the light bulb, it worked regardless of if you had the battery here or the cords were this long and the battery's down here.
But I'm saying they're still gonna be in pain.
That's
right?
what I mean. The
But I
connection
mean,
is still the same whether the battery's close or far.
Yeah, so I feel
I think it's one of those things where, it's a jigsaw trap and it's coordinated to work perfectly
But I
every
guess they
single
wouldn't have
time.
to touch the water, right?
I guess, no water.
Yeah,
but the
would never-
tweaker would trip and fall in it, so they'd be screwed.
He would have.
Yeah, there we
They were
go.
like, ooh, that's
Because the
tasty.
water intensifies it,
Ew,
right? Or something?
tasty. Guys, I found water.
Yeah, I think they, probably would have just assume the world where they all work together, right? And they all got through the first trap. They all got through the second trap by
It's a very nice
figuring
fantasy
it out.
world.
Well, it is a nice fantasy world. And then I assume by that point they would have said, oh, look at there's 5 of these and there's 5 of us. Simple. We all pick one up. Boom.
Yeah, but when there was only 3 of them, you're right. I didn't think, oh, you all just grab one and it's good to go.
Yeah.
I totally did think first. I was like, oh, you gotta throw someone in that tub.
You gotta throw someone in there and jam that hook into the back of her head.
Yep.
Taylor, did this room irk you?
No, this is actually quite the opposite.
He's like,
Oh,
I've done this
no.
one before personally.
I was.
Ruben in the tub.
Wow, very sexy.
Like the tweaker says, I'm more of a shower guy.
Anyway,
I
go
got
on.
a chuckle. Justin gave me a chuckle. I appreciate that.
Stand-up comedian and his first night in the club.
He did his first joke. I'm more of a shower guy.
We haven't seen Saw 5! Stop telling us Saw jokes! Oh, man.
You start your routine. So, who here has seen Saw 5?
So what
I stopped at the 3rd one, dude. Fuck Jeff.
So what's the deal with those Saw movies?
No, it was quite the opposite. I didn't zone
You
out.
said that already.
I didn't zone out. When this part happened, I was trying to wrap my head around the fact
I
wrapping
was,
my head around.
I was wrapping my ex-girlfriend's body in a carpet to throw her out.
I was wow. I was just so puzzled. How is this gonna work? What is the point of the bathtub? There's 5 generator things. This
Well,
is
you got
so
15
intense.
minutes. They can get a chance to be clean.
Well, yeah,
I
but I
would.
mean, I thought like, wow, this one chick is just going absolutely nuts. Like, yes, the tweaker's annoying, but like she's just going ape shit.
I would have done what she did though. He was too annoying for my taste, so I was on her side.
Yeah, but I mean, like, she was just starting to lose her mind, I feel like, and Rita just stepped in, because Rita was like, I didn't trust her. So
This is the prequel. This is the prequel to Dexter.
It is.
I feel like, you know, like, it was definitely, it got to the point where I laughed at the tweaker when he's like, a hook, and it's like, obviously, you know what you gotta do with it at this point. You just connected all 4 pieces, but I mean, Rita just was like so calm and collected about it. She took her part and stabbed the chick.
She also knocked her out. She was not a fan of that girl.
No.
This is why Rita went and dyed her hair and was okay with Dexter
She moved to
murdering
Miami.
people.
She
Yeah.
moved to
I would
New
see
life.
that. I would see that movie though. Dexter v Jigsaw. You know, that'd be a great movie. Maybe not. Maybe not.
That would be so cool. Like Jigsaw leaving the clues for Dexter, and like Jigsaw trying to recruit Dexter.
See,
Yeah,
I'm
Dexter
getting
has
excited
killed
here
him.
now.
Dexter season 9.
Well, Dexter has to find out.
Versus
who it is.
Hannibal as well. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
There we
Well,
go.
Hannibal wins that fight. Let's be honest.
I don't know.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Well, you know what? One guy dies, and one guy becomes a fucking lumberjack. I like Hannibal's odds pretty well against a lumberjack. Do you have anything to add on the bathroom scene, the bathtub? I guess?
Ooh.
I think it was very cool because, well, no, it came after that they realized that they all could have been alive this whole time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that. The trap that I
arm
like.
saw.
Yeah. I don't know. Cutting off the arm, saw room. I don't
The
know.
bleeder.
Yeah.
The bleeder.
The bleeder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're
Hardcore.
there's just like this table that has saws on it, like you would find in like a wood shop. that
There's
you put-
5 saws.
There's 5 saws. Who would have thunk it?
Whoa.
And they find out they would have just been able, if all survived, to put their hand in there and cut a little bit, and they had to fill it with 10 pints of blood. But now because there's 2 of them, it was either someone has to die with their whole arm, or they can do like half their arm and 10
5
whatever.
pints each.
Yeah, half pints each. So yeah, and then yeah, they do it, and I like this trap. It's cool. I think the shooting of it is good for the most part until the part when they get in the machine. It's not that clear what's going on. You can never really tell how much further it is. It's just like a lot of blood in a
It's a lot of
hand.
blood, yeah.
So like it loses its intensity really quick for me.
I
But
thought it would get pretty messy though.
yeah, but it just like maybe they should have shot it with like no roof and just had the blood spewing. Well, I guess
No,
not. They
that
had
won't
that.
work. Yeah.
Gotta
I just
contain
feel
that.
like it's a really claustrophobic trap and it doesn't shoot the best, so there should have been a way. And I think the
Sure.
trap is cool. That's the coolest one in the rooms.
I feel like if you could have probably like tried to get your spit in there, or like tried like
Oh wow.
Urinate in it?
yeah, I was gonna say like,
Really?
yeah. The urinate is a better like choice.
Yeah,
It's,
why
uh,
wouldn't you? Like, try and...
Do you think you're gonna have 10 pints?
No,
Or like,
like,
are they
you-
drinking the bathtub water?
Yeah, there you go. I mean that.
You could just pour the bathtub water.
No,
People
but I
have
mean-
suggested why didn't they use the bathtub water, and really, I guess you.
Well, actually, didn't they say that in the movie? Don't they mention that? I thought they mentioned that, and they're like, he would know it's gotta be blood. I don't know. Maybe I made that up
He's
in
a
my head.
vampire.
I
Yeah,
thought they did.
movie magic, but yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the
Maybe worth a try.
urination, like, there's a guy, they pee standing up.
Hoffman's like, stop doing that. I
It
see.
might be,
serious.
might be one of those things that, you know, if he's watching you and he sees that you cheated, he'd kill you. So maybe they're like, you know, we've made it this far, let's just cut our hands a little
I
bit. do it.
feel like I would rather risk it and keep my hand.
But then, didn't you see with the tweaker, he had 3 hands afterwards. It was awesome.
Yeah, he's a
I
mutant.
mean, you're not wrong.
It was so cool.
And even then, if he sees you're cheating, he's probably just gonna leave you in the room and you're gonna die from the nail bomb, right? So, yeah,
I liked it. I think my...
Or it could pay off and you'd still have most of your hand.
I don't know most.
I would put my leg in there, man. I want my hands more than my legs.
Smash.
Yeah, exactly.
That might be hard to get the leg in there though.
I got a pretty slick leg.
I don't know how I'd feel about being one-legged, but, you know, 2 hands I guess is still pretty cool.
How would you feel about being one-handed? You can still
Oh,
do
solid
thumbs up.
crack in there.
A little
Yeah.
crack, McCracken.
Yeah, I could still do the thumbs up, you know, it's good.
Yeah, I think the only I liked this, I mean I didn't dislike this like you guys did, so I liked this trap as well. I think the only thing that was kind of weird for me is that when they put their hands in there, I like how she like kind of delays to put her hand in there, and he's like do it, and she does it as well. But then the thing that's weird for me is he's just wailing, like he's screaming. the whole time, which makes sense if your hand's getting torn up. But I don't think she makes a single noise. I didn't notice her making any noise.
Would you guys
She does
go
moan a little.
maybe
Does she?
between these fingers or like these fingers? Which?
I think they did the middle to try to get the most blood.
No, but I'm asking, what would you do? Like, if you had to do that, would you rather like?
I'd do
split-
my leg.
I just cut the thumb off and then just hold it over the pint and just hope it drips down.
I'd knock Taylor out. Use his other hand.
No, I would do it in the middle and keep the
Thanks.
middle finger and the pointer together.
Middle
The pointer?
pointer.
Yeah, these two together.
Yeah, I'd probably do that too.
Yeah.
I'd put my elbow in there if I could.
You'll be going up to your elbow.
No, not doing 2 pints. 5 to 5 or 10.
Yeah.
Anyway. Or you could do 2 hands and just do a little bit. They should have done that.
You still have to give the same amount of blood,
Yeah, but you'd have to do less of your hand.
That's true.
but then you'd also do it to both hands.
That's true.
You
make
you
a
don't
good
want to be
point.
in these traps either way.
The thing is, like, well, here's the real thing. Would you want to cut halfway up your wrist, or would you want to cut your... No, yeah, you're right. Got it. I think the solution is both legs, both hands, and maybe your
What?
tongue, and then...
Tongue.
No, you gotta spit. You have to leave your tongue out of it. Just spit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the best solution,
Oh.
personally. I'd throw my hair in there. That would probably help.
No, that's not the face. Oh.
How are you even gonna like?
I'm just gonna... I don't know, dude. There's a lot of fucked up things in that building. they could
Using the
use.
key to cut your hair.
Yeah, like why didn't she like take off her shoes and throw those in? Like get them.
Sure.
I
sewed
feel
up?
like that. No, I
Anything
feel-
to get it's probably just a a weight.
We saw
Yeah.
a
Hoffman
scale.
with a camera. He's clearly watching. If he sees somebody throwing their fucking
Hoffman's
shoe in
busy
there,
fighting strong.
Yeah.
Isn't that at the same time as this?
but kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
But
he's like.
It is because that guy shows up.
I'm sure he has an app on his phone that he's like looking while he's in
No,
the
'cause
glass
he, like,
box.
He walks in before he leaves.
These guys
like,
have
on
flip
the
phones. They
screen.
don't have apps on their phones.
He does.
Crazy.
He does.
I would have thrown a shoe in.
He created it.
Get it? A shoe in.
A shoe in. I kind of get it.
It's like your shoe in.
I get the
if you
pun.
throw your shoe in.
You're
Yeah.
shooing to win? I never
It's
heard
not a
that
shoe in to
before.
win though, because it might not work, right?
You never heard the saying?
A shoe in to win?
A shoe in.
A shoe in?
You don't know what a shoe in is?
A shoe in? What is a shoe in?
Yikes.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Yikes.
We're so up top. You've never. You're a shoe in to win? No? Like, really?
Like, legitimately, like, my shoe is in to win?
Like, I'll give you an example.
oh no.
You know, we're doing the Golden Geeks at the end of the year. That scene where Tom Hiddleston is cutting up, that's a shoe in to be in the nominations. Like, it's just...
It's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee.
What does that have to do with
Almost
shoes,
Oh
though?
my god.
It's just an expression.
It's just
That's
like,
why it was
picture
a
putting
pun.
your shoe in.
That's why
Yeah.
it was a pun, because it's a statement, and I was talking about her throwing her shoe in. Really?
It's a weird expression.
Anyway, so that was the end of that trap, and thus the end of the whole 5.
The verb shoe is used for driving animals such as livestock, and there's a clearer link to earlier meaning of
You
the
didn't-
noun fixed. Wait, this is
You didn't
This is
figure
way
it
off topic now.
No, I didn't.
You just went in blind. Bold move.
Originally referred to a racehorse which only required minimum urging to finish first. So they're saying a shoe in meaning like by the finish line, like whose
Yeah.
shoe made it in.
Yeah, shoe in.
Oh!
One of the sure chance of being chosen for a job or position.
Not even spelled
So
like
not
shoe.
not you in anything in your life, other than number one loser. What did you think
How do
about?
you not? How have you never heard that? In
He's
your
an
life?
alien.
I've heard of
23.
shoes, but not shoe in.
Oh my
What
They
did
don't
you-
have shoes on this planet.
What did you okay? What did you think about this final room, Taylor?
This final room.
It's a shoe in to be his favorite.
Earth level?
It wasn't at Irk, and it wasn't at like I'm wrapping my head around this, but it was
It's
like,
pretty simple. So
it was-
if you had told me, like,
Between
huh?
and that my head is wrapped.
Huh? What are they gonna do? Huh? What? Sauce?
What are you saying to me?
Huh?
No,
It was right in the middle there because I was like, like there's supposed to be 5 of them to sacrifice their blood, but like
Yeah, we went over that.
Rita just said there's 2 of them, so like and the way she
I
hear me
didn't-
out, hear me out.
Maps on the table. There was 5, and then she said there was 2.
She explained herself in the sense, and this is what kind of confused me. She said, okay, so one of us can die, or 2 of us can sacrifice our blood and maybe live. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
So she's saying one person, like, let's say he like overpowered her and just put her whole arm in. She's gonna die 100% if her whole arm was cut in half.
Yeah.
From blood loss. So they're saying maybe if we only cut half our arm, that there's a chance we could die, but maybe we can survive.
Yeah.
They tie the whole thing around.
Like, that's
our
still not
arm.
a healthy thing to do for your body.
No.
right?
Yeah, that's
You
not a
still
position
could
to
die.
be in. No.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was like, at this point, it was very much like, you know, their survival instinct. They just wanted to win and survive. And, you know, kudos and all that stuff to them. But, I mean, they tried even though they knew they needed all 5 people.
Now, does it count as a win if they do that but they don't survive?
No.
Well,
I don't think so. But she's like, we won.
You know what kind of interesting, too? Because we were talking about, like, getting... We
door.
were talking about getting, like, the bathwater and stuff. What if they went and took the chick out of the bath and, like, pretend she was still alive
People
on
have
camera?
suggested that, too. Okay.
Maybe
Hey,
not
wait,
pretend.
People not suggested a weekend at Bernie's situation where you pretend. No. If Hoffman, imagine Hoffman's watching this. He's talking like the then these fuckers come back in and they go and he's just like, I know what you're doing. Like, I see you. I know
I'm
what you're
picturing the scene in Chucky when he's raining.
And the other thing is, okay, pretend she's alive, right? She's fucking probably burnt to a crisp right now.
No, she's totally dead. I'm saying, like...
No,
when you
I
think-
know, but remember they left the room and she was shaking visibly.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
gonna-
She's
She's
dead.
gonna be, like, her skin's gonna be burnt, so, like, you can't pretend
Okay,
she's
so
alive.
now what you do is you go all the way back to the first room where the girl just got decapitated.
Those doors are locked.
Are they?
That chick
Yeah,
probably bled
yeah.
out too, anyway.
You know, like, the girl is still fried, but she's still got blood and stuff. So, I mean, like, if
But
you
no,
throw her
I'm
on your
not-
shoulder
I'm not saying
and
you're
pretend
wrong
like
there.
you're talking
No.
to her, Hoffman's gonna think, oh, she's still somehow
That's the
alive.
problem. That's the problem with your equation. Fine,
No,
people
okay,
have
It's
brought up,
Electro!
people have brought up the like, oh, bringing in that body, they could use it.
Yeah.
But your whole pretending she's alive does not
No,
work.
Rita just takes off her jacket, puts it on her. You can't see her burnt out arms.
You're gonna see. I think the whole body's burnt. Terrible.
You know, Hoffman's not gonna know. He's busy fighting Strom, and I mean,
Not in
it's the
this
same,
moment. He's
Yeah,
not.
but
He's
it's
still
the
there.
same thing. Like, oh, if you have the chick here, and he's obviously, I'm assuming he's just visual. He's not listening in or whatever. But if you angle it right to where the camera is, you can be like, good job, you took the one for the team, and like,
I think
Take
Hoffman's
another one
pretty
for the team.
smart to figure that out.
Yikes.
Take another one for. Oh wow!
Just put sunglasses on. Hey guys, I'll put both my eyes in there for you. I love you guys so much. Wow, you just took one for the team and I'll do another one? You're such a great person. We love you. Hoffman's like, wow, what a turn of a card. She's really shitting.
Hoffman's like, I'm putting you fuckers in the room with Strom, by the way.
Oh, yikes.
Do we have anything to add on the final room?
Final room. Close it.
Okay, no, and then it ends. They get there, they do the trap, they open the door, they find something special agent Peter Erickson. He's
Special.
He's double special. You know, like that. He finds all this evidence. He's even like, ooh, the coffee's warm. Like he touched it. Hoffman, I love that Hoffman was like, this job of framing Strom is not going to work unless I leave a coffee here. That's warm.
Yeah.
Erickson calls in.
He must have left it like extra hot that way.
It was still steaming when Erickson got there.
Yeah, exactly.
This movie, I think,
This is that coffee that chick filed a lawsuit against McDonald's for. Same one.
This movie,
Still
I feel,
burning.
is
This is very
super
dated.
dated because the whole entire movie has that stupid earphone that was such a big thing at one point in the
So
world.
stylish.
Yeah, but he never takes it off in this movie. He calls it in.
He sleeps with that thing.
He calls it in as Peter Strom. He says he puts ABB on him. Strom gets killed. These people are dying. And then Hoffman is smiling with blood. And that's how the movie ends. So, also we have some notes, but anything to like talk about, not really any big twists, anything like that, you know.
I'll check my notepad.
Anybody have notes? Jessica, notes?
I believe so.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the opening trailer, by the way. I know you don't like the trap, but I like the actual trap of the pendulum.
The
I
design.
think it's cool. Yeah.
I showed it out before, but I'll say it again. I just love when Strom tricks himself.
Mhm.
Like, absolutely. I don't know why. I just think it's super smart. And I'm like, man, I would not have thought of that. Like, kudos to you.
Our YouTube history is just full of Drake compilations on YouTube.
Nice.
Yikes.
Yeah, I already said that I enjoyed, like, watching them tie in everything, watching the razor wire and this and that.
Yeah.
I have a note that it sounds like a really obvious different voice for the last end of the recording in that room, but apparently you guys disagree, so I'll go look that up
I'd have to
again.
listen to it again. It didn't catch my ear.
I did have a note that they've kind of made it so that way every movie almost seems like it could be the last movie. Like this one, it ends, so
Yeah.
it could be an end, but there's always a little bit of things that are not tied up that you
Sure. Yeah.
kind of waiting for the next one, but they do a really good job of kind of making you think, like, where's things gonna go next. And, yeah, this movie's meh. I had a note specifically that this movie is meh.
Dylan, notes?
We touched about everything on this particular movie, but I have just an overall question. Like, how much do you think they were thinking like about the plot lines of future movies and like twists and things like that? Like when they made Saw 1, obviously it's a different time, as they probably thought at the time like there might just be one. But really, like, how long ago do you think they had this all Hoffman plot line lined out?
Well,
And
they
like,
had to have some plan with the note and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, and so
but really, like, what do you think that note? They just kind of left that and like, okay, we can figure something out with that later. We left that option because even this movie, this movie doesn't use that note, right?
Yeah,
so that's something that was either thought about for later on, or it was just like, we'll leave that there and we'll answer it whenever we fucking need a plot way out, right?
Yeah, I think there's certain things that they do plan for, like big moments, like okay, Amanda and Hoffman, and like I feel like 3 is when you start to see it, because 1 came out massive hit. They were not expecting to do a sequel, and I'm pretty sure that James Wan and Lee Winnell still wrote 1 to 3, and then they stopped after that. So there was like at least a
So
theme.
even then, when they made the first one, do you think Amanda was an apprentice at that time in their mind?
No, I don't think so. I think they made that. I think they made 2, and 2 was really successful. I think 3 is when they started to do the long-term planning of like the note and Hoffman and stuff like that. I feel like stuff like the note and leaving Matthews to die, that's the stuff that they're like, oh, we could use that, we could not. But I think they had big moments like, oh, Jigsaw will die here, and we'll have an origin story here. So I think it's like a 50-50 of planning and whatnot. So
Interesting.
yeah. A few notes I had when Strom listens to his tape with Jigsaw at the very beginning of the movie. I just like, he just looks over and he's just like, fuck you. He just says that to Jigsaw's dead body.
Yeah.
Like that. We see Jeff's daughter really quickly. Hoffman saves her. We didn't talk about that, but just asked about where her mom and dad is, and well, her mom has no head, and Jeff is dead. So yeah,
not looking good for her family.
Yeah, which for me,
and her brother was run over by a drunk driver.
Yeah, who is also not in good shape.
No.
And for me, it was very strange, just because when the way Saw 3 ends, I always felt there was gonna be a big like thing to get this daughter back, and it's just such like a throwaway thing in this movie. Just like Hoffman found her, it's like, oh right. Okay. There's something where I feel like they end it like, oh, the traps will be about him finding his daughter, and then like, yeah, we don't want to do that, so we'll go away.
Yeah.
The beginning of the movie was actually not the pendulum trap, but the part of him getting out, Hoffman, and saying like nobody made everybody die. Well, not that was actually supposed to be the ending of Saw 4 that was filmed previously, but then they didn't use it, so they used it for the beginning. I don't know why, but they used it. Yeah. That's your Saw special features there, right there.
Special features there.
Here's a problem I want to talk about. Hoffman at one point is talking to Strom. He's like, I got Jigsaw, and he says, I've been on the case since day one. I don't like that, because I feel like it's kind of like, I know they did it, but they like, that's where they didn't plan for that. They have to retroactively fit, because all I get the vibe in Saw 1 is that like Tap is the first one really looking into this, and like, why would Hoffman not be helping them at all in those cases then, if Hoffman was the first detective to start investigating Jigsaw? And even Hoffman says like, oh, Tap's getting closer, but it's like in Saw 1, Hoffman's nowhere to be found. Like Carrie's there, Sing's there.
I mean,
it's
maybe,
a little
maybe there's that like essence of competition to it, right? Where they like Tap at the time was much farther ahead. He had leads that were actually going places, obviously, and so that's why he was kind of the one in the limelight there. But I mean, Hoffman was obviously there. He was obviously around because he was already working with Jigsaw at that point. Yeah. So he, like, I guess he was already probably plotting things out and writing things down in his notes of like, oh, this is my idea, trying to get that alibi, if you will, going like the whole time. Yeah. So I think it. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense movie wise.
Yeah, when you go back and watch Saw 1,
wasn't there obviously, but I mean, he was probably still at the station and he's probably in those meetings whipping out ideas here or there just to throw them off.
And they do kind of tie it in, I guess, with the pen and stuff like that he was there in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right in the pen, yeah.
And he somehow is a forensic analyst in one movie and he's a detective in the next,
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
My problem is they give Hoffman a medal. All the newspapers are like, detective finally nabs Jigsaw, and like I said, he literally says to Strom, he's like, I got him. Why do they feel like Hoffman got Jigsaw? Because Hoffman's story is that like his arm restraint was loose and he got out, but like he actually didn't get John Kramer. Like Jeff gets John Kramer, and if anything, Strom's the one that I guess technically Hoffman can be the one that like, oh, I found him, but Strom had already called the police in the last movie. He called them. They're like, wait there. He's like, no, I'm going in. So really, like, Strom found the location and he found Jigsaw. Like, I didn't really and this is something I've only caught now this watch, that like it didn't make sense that everyone was like, oh, Hoffman finally caught him. It's like, well, no, he didn't. He just was like in a trap and survived. You know, it's kind of a little
right.
strange.
Well, I think it's kind of the situation of like right place, right time, and obviously he had the ability, the behind the scenes knowledge to set that up perfectly and make him look like the hero. And I think there's obviously that sympathy card if he's the guy who walks out with the daughter who's been missing, and so that's a big thing, right? And so when he walks out of a building all shattered, he made it out of a trap. He has this girl that he saved, and Jigsaw's dead inside. Like, I completely understand why he'd be the one who gets credit for it. And I mean, someone's gonna get credit for it because the police aren't gonna just say he caught himself, right? They're gonna they're gonna give credit to one of their own.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe there's more to it. Like maybe he was already doing good work, and they wanted to give him promotion. This is a good way to kind of tie it all together, kind of thing, right?
Fair enough.
If this was a TV show, these could be the possibilities they would have gone for in giving these characters more going on.
Yeah. I shout out again. Like I said, my favorite scene in the movie is the Hoffman Jigsaw scene with the shotgun. I like that. They just felt like a good back and forth there. I like that. It was my nickname, Jigsaw. Just like he seems so offended when he's like, "And your blade was inferior." Like he's so offended that like, I guess this knife wasn't up to his standards.
Tempered steel.
Yeah, tempered
Sounds
steel.
like a fucking Skyrim blacksmith.
Yeah. So there's that. One of my favorite like bad things is when they have a flashback of Hoffman at the bar. The bartender, like he's like Jigsaw's like, "Oh, you stumble home drunk and you do it all over again." The bartender in the scene is literally like this. No, like he's doing the cutoff motion with his hand, but like it's like you wouldn't understand the scene, so they had to have the bartender really awkwardly just like, "No, man, you're done." Like I've never seen a bartender do that in my life at all. Like you make
you don't drink though.
Yeah, so. Just gonna say you don't drink.
But that doesn't matter. I'm the sober one, so I'm there till 3 a.m. and I get to see what they do. They'll be like, "Hey, you're done," or they'll get someone else security tell you they're never like, "No, man, you're done." You're like it was
this
just
is the U.S., man. Wild place.
fair enough.
Wild place.
We don't know what's in the U.S.
So wild they do this.
My last 2 points is when Strom's doing all the investigatings. I didn't really understand, so he's looking back and trying to figure out where Hoffman met with Jigsaw. Why is the barbed wire trap still up?
Why is it still up?
Yeah. So like that. So like
the police scene.
But this has to have been months that like this guy he goes there and it's still up, and I'm just like, whose building is this? Like even then, like I feel like they would have took it down eventually, but.
That's a good point. I didn't really think about that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, and then my last point is.
I mean, it's also who really wants to take that down? I've probably heard you get a few cuts here or there.
Jeff, that was his job.
Maybe it's like an amusement park ride. Like, play the games of Jigsaw. Someday that'll be the plot line of Saw at 15.
Yeah, and then what would that be? Jigsaw World, like Jurassic Park, like Jurassic World, Jigsaw
Universal
World.
Studios.
Yeah.
Coming to you.
And then my last shout out, Aubie makes a quick little cameo.
Aubie does make a cameo.
He's one of the only people in the house that you actually see their face. All the rest of the people, like you can tell they're not the same actor because they're all like this and this. But for some reason, they got this guy to come back just to have Hoffman dragging him on the ground.
Yeah, maybe he was like. Maybe he did like the lighting or something. Like he's some random crew member.
Well, remember I told you at one point.
You could tell that by the acting. Maybe he wasn't acting.
In between movies, they're like, "Yeah, we have big plans to explore like the origins of Aubie," and they never did. So it always just felt like there was something more of this character, and they're like, "No, we're not gonna get to it." And they literally
maybe they wanted to make him the tweaker from this movie or something.
But then they killed him in the fire.
Yeah, maybe he never died in the fire.
Wow.
Maybe that's the big twist.
Jigsaw, we know who the killer is now.
Yikes.
Any other notes?
Negative.
So
did you shake your head no? Wow.
No, I was looking over at you to see if you had.
We also
any.
gotta remember we have listeners, so you putting a finger up not gonna help.
Well, I think it's fine though. Because then we know he needs to say something, but he doesn't need to disrupt the flow of conversation.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think Travis
Thank
just
you.
doesn't want to give Taylor a chance to talk.
No.
There's a very good point that I have to bring up here. So.
Oh no.
So
in the
that is a-
bathtub,
that is a
they really
worrying
could have used her
setup.
body this way.
It's like, wait, what?
So, Hoffman's whole plan, like with the 5 people in that building, like what building do you think that is attached to? Because this is again like another huge prime area of real
I think
estate.
it's another building, and the other thing that's really frustrating is the place where Strom gets like destroyed is somehow in Hoffman's basement. It makes completely no sense.
Wait, what?
So the way Strom follows Hoffman, I assume it's Hoffman's house, maybe it's not, but like Hoffman goes into a house. Strom goes in the house, Hoffman's not in the house, and he finds like a little like door like in Saw 2 that like connects. When he opens it up, it goes down and it leads into all these things and it leads into the like crushing room. So Hoffman literally has this in his house. Like this down.
Maybe
And
it's Obi's house. Maybe that's
Obby. It's Obby. That's my name. It's Obby.
Maybe that's his whole backstory.
No, I think it's just another like it's much like Jigsaw knowing everything. I think it's just like these ones kind of throw out the realism, and that's why I like some of them less.
They ripped this out of like a video game dungeon. Like this place is not real.
Yeah, but and it's Strom's apparently, you know. So yeah, I think it's just another building.
It's Batman's tunnels. He uses
the Batcave. It's gonna take $500 a month to rent this. Hoffman's like, okay. I'll get that reporter off your back, by the way. Oh, thanks. We're ready for ratings. Yeah. Oh, quick. 5 out of 10 for me. Like I said at the beginning, it's 50% of a good movie, 50% I think of a really bad movie. I do not like any of the trap people. The traps are really lame. I maybe would like the idea of the, working together, but I just think it wasn't really done that well between their story, between it not being connected to the main story, and between the traps. Love the Hoffman Strom cat and mouse game. I would have liked Strom to survive a little longer because it was fun to see, but maybe that's for the best because he gets to go on like when you're wanting more. And Jigsaw, Tobin Bell, not in it too much, but I think his scenes that he's in it are good and they help out Hoffman, and there's some fun little Easter eggs to the rest of the film. So yeah, 5 out of 10, just 50% right on the dot.
I like how coincidentally Saw 5 is.
Oh, fuck off with this 5 business.
5 business. I don't. See, it's hard. Every other movie when we've talked about it, I've been like, I don't know what we're talking about because I watched them a long time ago, but as soon as we start, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I remember what's going on. This one, I'm like, I still really don't remember what happened in this. Like, nothing stuck out enough to really remember. Like, I remember the trap, the 5
I still
of
think
them.
your strategy of watching 7 movies back to back to review them
That's true.
is
I'm
not a
not
good
gonna lie,
strategy.
I
think you start with that, sure. But then, before each episode, maybe do a quick
I haven't
refresher.
watched the 6th one yet, so actually the next one will actually be fresh and
So
ready
did you
for.
watch 7th and then skip 6?
No, I haven't watched any more.
Okay, there
So,
you go.
yeah.
There you go.
So from now on, I'll actually know what's going on.
Right.
But the moral of the story was this one wasn't good enough to actually spark any memories of anything.
Ooh, shots.
So yeah, this one. I mean,
0 out of 10.
if you're watching around with us, you gotta watch it because it leads into the next one. But I mean, if you're just listening to this for shits and giggles, you don't need to go watch this movie again.
Well, that's the problem if you like this series. For me, it's like there's some horror franchises that you can skip. You can't really because it's like the origin of Hoffman. Like you get his whole backstory. So this is one that's like you always gotta watch because like it's his story. So there's not really any way around it, unfortunately. Yeah.
Did you get? What was your number rating for it? Did you give a number rating?
No.
Oh.
She's not the number rating kind of
Dylan
gal.
Converter.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't sound like that.
You just did.
I know.
You could.
Yeah, this definitely. I mean, it's not my least favorite of them. I thought it was cool because, I mean, as much as I don't like him, he's cool, but I still don't like him. But in a good way. Yeah.
You never used him by name.
So.
You said him. Like you have some vendetta in your head about him that we don't know about.
I do. We don't talk anymore.
Him.
But I'd be itching to give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I mean, it could have been worse, but I kind of like what they were doing with like the five people crew and just how that kind of like blew up in their face, and I mean, just there were so many like flaws in the trap though that they could have worked as a team, and they could have I think if the reporter made it to the end, the reporter would have been like, let's go get the chick's body from the other room.
And pretend she's alive and walk her over.
He is pretty strong. He could have done that.
He had glasses. He could have put them on, like make her look more
I
lively.
don't know how strong he is.
Yeah.
He was smashing those glasses.
He was-
he looks pretty strong.
He was
really
the first
beat
one to
me.
get the key. He knew to wrap his shirt around his hand before punching the glass. Like he was thinking.
Yeah, well, he died second, so he didn't think that much.
Well, you didn't know it was gonna come from behind, so.
Oh, well,
Always expect it from behind. That's what I always say. Never surprised me, baby.
Almost. Always expected from behind. Coming to a Tinder profile near me.
I don't use Tinder. Nice try.
Well, now you will.
Grinder, maybe.
Oh, Oh yikes! And I do gotta find a husband, so.
Or Jigger.
Always gotta-
Jigger.
Jigger's
For
a
this not
maniac.
for Jigsaw fans.
That or like
That's where people go to see Jigsaw.
fellow Jigsaw apprentices are like, oh yeah, I'll hook up.
Jigger. They're really into that kinky
Or Jiggy.
stuff,
Jiggy would actually be better, right? Because the taking would be get
No,
jiggy with it.
I like Jigger though.
Okay, I thought
But you can still get jiggy with it if it's Jigger.
get jiggy with
Get
Jigger.
jigged.
Yeah,
I
there
got
you go.
jigged,
Jiggy with
man.
Jigger.
Yeah,
I
there
got
we
jigged
go.
last week, big time. Yeah, no, I like this movie I think more than the rest. Well, Taylor, I don't know. It's really hard to tell this stuff. You gave it a 6.5, but that could mean a number of things. But yeah, I like the 5 characters and their journey for the most part. It wasn't perfect, and
Their journey, that's a
Like-
bit much, you know. Some using journey.
it
as
doesn't
a
matter
word.
how good it is. It was still a journey. And you know, I think they could have done some things better for sure. Like a couple of those characters are kind of boring, and like the journalist, I would have liked to see him connect all the characters instead of
Tweaker.
Tweaker Rita or else does it.
Tweaker Rita.
Tweaker Rita.
Dexter
But,
season 9.
But yeah, I still like the traps enough, other than the nail bombs, and it was interesting. And yeah, I really like these Strom and Hoffman. You call it cat and mouse games, pretty much what it is.
Casper?
Casper. Yeah, Casper mattresses. Yeah, I really I thought it was a lot of fun to see those two characters that I wasn't too fond on from the fourth Saw, and I liked them by the end of this one. And their journey is interesting as well, and I think the movie does a really good job of pacing those two stories back and forth. And I found like I was constantly interested in both of them at the same time, and it kind of kept progressing them at a solid pace rather than forgetting about one of the storylines for like 40-50 minutes, which we've seen in a lot of movies this year. So yeah, I thought it was a solid movie. Still not seeing this downhill slope that Saw is taking. I didn't like Saw 4 a whole lot, but I don't really see this whole downhill spiral
Well, I think
yet,
for
so.
you that people didn't love 4, and then a lot of people
I mean,
don't
maybe
like
it's
5.
just a different experience seeing them kind of back to back and not having to wait. Because if you had to wait a full
year,
year or two
yeah.
for some of these movies, you know, maybe and it doesn't live up to your expectations, or all these fan theories that you were discussing on some sort of forum board, you know. But yeah, from my experience has been, I'm enjoying these so far, and I kind of like this movie. It was different because it didn't rely on a huge twist to make an interesting story. Like, I guess sometimes like it kind of seems that way, that the story wasn't that interesting until you know what the twist is, right? But this movie was took a different route. So yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I'm curious what 6 and 7 and then 8 rather have to give.
Yeah, 6 and 7 are definitely
Because you've liked these movies like more than most people, even, I feel like.
one of those movies I love, and one of those movies I think is one of the worst horror movies of all time.
Oh, sweet, I can't wait.
So you got a huge spectrum. Taylor, where can they find the Geekverse podcast when
Not
they're
doing our
coming from
favorite
behind?
Oh yeah.
Well, I thought about it, but you can't really do it with like
It's hard to say.
these traps. I'm sorry, are super lame. Like, what are you gonna? Oh, okay, I'm gonna take the fucking glass trap every time. I'm gonna smack a couple, get a key, and get in the thing. Like, that's what I mean. Like, they're not like.
I'll take the trap of going in a cage with a bunch of glass shards and then I get evacuated through the floor.
Well, I just feel like these traps you couldn't really do by yourself. It's about who like. That's it, like, because all these traps wouldn't really matter if you right away figure out 5
Well,
more.
And let's say this then. Let's say you're in there with the Geek First crew.
I was gonna say.
You got us 4,
no.
and we'll put Kirkland in there because he's the OG 5. Like, what?
Yeah, don't put Kyle.
Like, you get to pick one of those rooms. Which one do you pick?
With the 5 of us to work out?
Yeah.
Still the glass.
Yeah, still the
Well,
glass.
like-
I don't gotta get shocked. I
I-
don't gotta worry about my head getting cut off.
I guess the bathtub room could be sketch.
Yeah.
That's a very
diseases.
dirty place.
What's in that water? Taylor's gonna. Oh, I'm gonna use a fake dead body. Kirkland's body.
Literally. Has sunglasses on.
If it's like
Kirkland's Star Wars sweater.
if it's all 5 of us in the first room, I legitimately would be like, wait, Travis, you just gun for it, because I could see you just tanking it and charging
If
through.
you would like decapitate everyone though, because you would
Just
not.
stand.
No,
I'll let you all know. Be like, hey, Taylor, everything on 5, okay?
But you also don't know at the time that all these keys work for the same thing, and you also don't know.
Yeah, you don't know if one of us is gonna freak out and be like, oh no, I'm just going for one of
That'd be
us.
Kirkland, that'd be freaking out. No,
Really?
No, he'd be the calmest.
I think no, you're the tweaker.
I wouldn't be tweaking.
Yeah, you would.
No, I
Guys!
I'd be so calm. I'd probably be like, well, it's nice knowing you guys.
You get a writer.
Let's do a final
Well,
episode.
good. At least we know we can sacrifice Taylor when he's like, oh.
This is all for my book, my novel.
Yeah.
How I survived the Geekverse.
Yeah. And the other problem is all the other traps were like flashbacks. The barbed wire trap. Like when there's another one they did. So it's like stuff we've discussed already. So that's why I didn't. I
Well,
thought
I mean, you
about
can
it.
take the pendulum.
I'm not taking the pendulum. I'll take the glass. I don't want to
Even
break
if
my
the pendulum
hands.
one even like actually worked. Like,
I'm breaking my hands.
I wouldn't want to do that.
No.
Yeah.
And that's just scary too.
There's the shotgun one.
Oh no! What is the point of that? It was empty.
You get to sit in a room and
Just
talk
Talk
to
to
Jigsaw.
Tobin Bell.
I'm down with that. An interview with Tobin Bell. Perspective of a shotgun.
We're trying. So Taylor, where can they find us coming from the rear and all other places on the internet?
From the rear.
Rigor.
Well,
Find it on the App Store today.
well, after you've done downloading Rigor, go on to
Jigger.
Jigger.
Rigor.
Rigor.
Just the
Yeah,
day
what is
after
this?
Riggs.
I totally said that.
Just
Don't
Riggs.
type Taylor under the bus.
Riggs and his family.
It's a Riggs.
He created a spin-off one, and it's just like every time it's like
No, it's the app only for people who are low-key really big fans of Riggs.
Yeah.
And that's their favorite
And
song.
whenever you're swiping right, it's just all Riggs. So like it's just him, the actor.
And then, like, as your description, you just put your favorite trap, and that's like, how you differentiate between.
and if it's not from Saw 4, you're not getting a date.
Well,
Oh, she likes
with,
Jeff. Oh, not even
Well, with that handy dandy internet connection, you can
Handy-dandy.
type in on Google. You can go in that little search bar there. You can type in Geekverse Space Podcast, and you'll find tons of stuff. But what I specifically want you to do, I want you to go into your Facebook, because on your Facebook in that search bar, you can type in Geekverse, hit the space bar, and then enter podcast, because then you will be directed. You'll see, like, you have to click search. You have to click on the little magnifying glass, and it'll take you, and you'll be like,
I'm hungry, dude.
Yeah, let's go.
you'll get good food and good times and great content.
No food. We can't guarantee that.
No, you have to get the food on your
No,
own.
we're not getting enough food. We'll
Get
go
the
to
food on your
jail.
own.
Go to geekverspodcast.com to find our social media, such as Facebook, such as Twitter, our
Such as.
video services, YouTube, Twitch
Yeah,
will be
boy.
up very soon again. Podcast services, SoundCloud, iTunes,
Podbay.
Podbay, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, the whole shebang. You can find a bunch of shows there, spin-off shows, Netflix and Fail, Saw Retro, the Marvel Retro's starting up quick, trailer reactions, Geek Mania is officially out, go check that out, 2.5 hour extravaganza. Other thing we did not play at the beginning is, this will be up before then, November 4th, 9 a.m. PST, we are doing a 24-hour stream for BC Children's Hospital. Any money we make will go towards that from starting to, this podcast or until November 4th, so I'll leave the link in the description of this episode. If not, you can find Facebook, all our details. We're trying to raise $500. That's a lofty goal, but we want to
If
give
you
something.
hate my hair, donate $500.
We want to give something worthy to BC Children's Hospital, so $1, $10, $5, whatever it is, helps because it's a great goal, and also Dylan Musk will shave his head bald live on air, so you're going to want to donate and watch that. Facebook has all the details. Thank you very much.
I'm not gonna do it with that fucking saw trap in Saw 3 when that girl has her hair. Not doing that, weirdos. No.
Yeah, weirdos. And until next time, game over.
Game over.
No one's
over. No,
Aw.
it's supposed to be staggered like that. Game. You just didn't do it at all, so we gotta try again. No,
Game
I'm
over.
Game.
Game.
Why'd you have to yell?
I like how you reassured yourself
Baby's
that
sleeping.
this
Don't
is
yell.
coming out before November.
My name's Abby.